Okay, I'm going to add you. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a slightly better difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're doing better than I am. So, yeah, we're just going to. So, this isn't live. We're not streaming right now. We're just going to have a basic little conversation talking about all these different illustrations. But mainly, you brought up the good idea that we just bring up the influences behind them and just see where the tangent takes us, so to speak. Which is
Yeah.
gonna, I'm gonna make a T-shirt for everybody, for all my friends. See where the tangent takes us. um, and if things go well, I can just. I'm recording this on OBS, so kind of what's on the screen right now can be seen, and I'll upload it to YouTube
Okay.
privately, and hopefully we either I or Patrick can edit it down to something a little more coherent, or a series of a bunch of little shorts related to each thing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so and you're not too tired, right?
No, I just woke up.
Okay. All right then. We are good. So, yeah. Um okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is something well, nothing too different. This is kind of very similar to the streaming art streams I usually do. But today we're just going to look over a bunch of illustrations that were done for KaiJune 2023. Don't know when this video is going to be uploaded, but hopefully it'll be in a timely manner, either towards the end of that said month or after said month. And joining me is James, better known as EarthBaragon online. Introduce
Hel-
yourself, James.
Hello.
There you go.
That's all I got.
Yeah, okay. Now, James, before we go any further, I think you've never really introduced yourself in full. Like, what kind of things have you done? What kind of stuff do you like? Do you want to introduce yourself, or you just want to get right into it?
I'll just get right into it. I'd
Oh,
rather be an enigma.
okay, then. All right, then we'll do that. But I will say this, though. James, aka EarthBaragon, but we'll call him James just for brevity's sake. He is a longtime friend of mine and a fellow artist and lover of monsters. And this was an idea he came up with where I've been sharing a lot of these illustrations I've been doing for KaiJune, which is supposedly supposed to be the month where a bunch of kaiju artists just do like 30 giant monster related illustrations for this month. Of, of course, warring and dueling fandoms get in the way, and when I try to share this information, I got a bunch of Jurassic Park weirdos telling me, hey, it's supposed to be Triassic June or some nonsense like that. I almost said the BS word. And then of course all the so-called normal people that I knew yelled at me. It's like, this is Pride Month. How dare you fill it with kaiju? So so either way, it's like what's the old saying? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So yeah,
You can
whatever.
always just do 30 illustrations of Gauss. Pretty much. I've seen that used as a representation for. I think it was All My Rayzilla who did that. It was a really good art piece.
Yeah, yeah, but like 30 different Gauss illustrations.
Maybe. I mean, there's what is there like 8 variations of it.
Well,
So
yeah, if you don't get into like the Gamma 2000 videos, but no, it's just it's like I spent most of the year getting this stuff ready, and at this point, like at the time we're recording, we're on the 8th day, and I'm kind of regretting just even doing this dumb project, especially since it seems KaiJune has kind of lost its luster quite a bit. Although I have been seeing, it's like before there was a time where a bunch of like the big wig artists would try to contribute something every day, but
yeah,
it's like I think I've came in too little, too late. Even though I've seen some really wonderful and beautiful illustrations on like Twitter, but it's not the same fanfare as before. But regardless,
no,
yeah. But regardless, I'm here, and for Pride Month, we're gonna drink beer. No. Oh god, that whole part's gonna get edited. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like Don Wrinkles minus the gajones. It's like you suck. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, but EarthBaragon. In another thing I wanted to say about this month that I think is slightly unsuccessful, but I would like to get your opinion on this, is that even knowing you're supposed to draw 30 giant monsters, I only realized after the fact that a good number of characters for this month are all giant robot related. And I know there's it's like there's that constant nerd whining, whinging, if you will, because nerds don't know classic English. That the whole argument of what counts as a kaiju, what doesn't count as a kaiju. But it's like I've been in the last 2 years, I've seen people kind of hypocritically consider this character as a kaiju, but not this character, or moving the goalpost depending on what their personal preference is. That at this point, I really don't care. As long as it's a giant size, fantastical creature ish character, I don't really give a care anymore. So because it's like, what is it? It's like comic book fans who don't count Superman as a superhero because he's an alien. He's not as cool as Batman, or vice
I've
versa.
never heard that argument before in my
I've
life.
heard that argument plenty of
You're on the
times.
dark side of the fandom if you're hearing that kinds of arguments.
I'm in Los Angeles. There's a lot of stupid people here, so it's um. But yeah, I've heard that argument many times, and of course, there's the opposite argument that's like, oh, Iron Man or Batman don't count as superheroes because they are normal human beings who use fancy gadgetry. So,
They're just capitalists who try to force their ideas upon other people.
with gadgetry, let's not forget that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's like they're both technically superheroes. So it's like they just go about it in different ways, and you get the same argument in the Godzilla franchise. You know, it's like, oh, this giant fantastical super ape with Herculean strength and intelligence from a faraway land is not a kaiju, but this giant super dinosaur that breathes fire and is fairly intelligent from an island in the Pacific, he counts as a kaiju. It's like it's all the same crap if you really think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like getting into like quibbles of like, is Konga a kaiju? Yeah, kinda. I mean, he's a big giant monkey.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that for the longest time, I tried to only stick to kaiju as a term to be used for Japanese giant movie monster characters. But in recent years, like in the last decade, and I think Pacific Rim really kind of started the ball rolling. But
Oh yeah.
I've seen it happen in Japan too. Now kaiju is just a universal term for big monster or big creature character.
Yeah, I
And
mean, people claim Cloverfield's a kaiju,
yeah,
and
well,
if it's a big thing, it's always a kaiju.
yeah, well, no, it's like I can make the argument for Cloverfield because that was an American monster movie directly influenced by the kaiju genre, Godzilla and all that. Even knowing that, I think the people behind Cloverfield were a little naive into thinking that America had no iconic giant monster when we have freaking King Kong right over there in the corner. But at the same time, it's like, what is it now? Like the term kaiju was definitely made more popular because of Pacific Rim, because of its usage in the movie. And now you're looking at things like comic book movies just randomly throwing the term kaiju around. Like Guardians of the Galaxy recently comically used the term "Go Kaiju" when Groot tried to intimidate somebody by growing a little bigger than usual.
Or
Or of
didn't?
course, yeah, Starro's appearance in the otherwise excellent
Oh,
Suicide Squad
yeah.
movie. And not only that, but this is a fact that I know a lot of gatekeeping fans in the genre and more modern anal retentive fans, the same kind of people who don't want to count King Kong or Jet Jaguar or even Mothra as kaiju because they're too fluffy or they're too cutesy. I think even I hate to say this based on what I've seen in Japanese television shows and pulp culture, they really throw around the term kaiju a lot as well. It's like I know technically the term dai kaiju is supposed to be for giant monster, but they rarely use that, if ever. And kaiju just gets thrown around for any kind of weird creature character, especially in the world of Super Sentai, where they refer to these non-gigantic alien supervillains as kaiju. And of course, if they grow giant size at the end, it just justifies the term a little bit.
What's
So
the term for like Star Man from Star or whatever? It,
Seijin.
well, there's another one too. I think it's more used for like Sentai monsters
Oh,
though.
no, kaijin or monster person.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I was
yeah,
thinking of.
but no. It's like even Super Sentai, they don't use the kaijin terminology that often. It's like they just again very nonchalantly, very calaver. I'm probably saying that word wrong. Very callously just throwing kaiju left and right because it's a weird character that grew giant size. So yeah, it's at a point where, and also one more thing I do want to bring up, the kaiju ega genre, as far as movies and the more, who's that?
Nothing.
Okay. Kaiju, as far as like the old school movies that started the genre properly, And a lot of the classic television shows directly spawned from kaiju movies, like Ultraman, Ultra Q, Johnny Psycho and his giant robot, all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They were always, and I know a lot of fans like to complain otherwise, but they've always been kind of a supernatural kitchen sink. And you know the term supernatural kitchen sink. It's like if it's supernatural, throw it in there. It's like your show might start out with about vampires and only vampires, but give it a season or two and they'll be fighting fairies, aliens, and robots. So yeah, the same thing can be definitely applied to the kaiju genre. Again, going back to comic books, if it's a long running comic book, our heroes are going to be fighting all sorts of wacky characters and creatures from all sorts of genres and species background. So yeah, and also last but not least, I think the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, for me was when I started a Facebook group and I started posting like Kong related material alongside the, quote unquote traditional kaiju stuff, Godzilla, whatnot. And there was like one particular fan who was so like, I don't know, maybe he had issues that we're not
That'd be
aware of.
the polite way of saying it.
Yeah, the polite way of saying it. But yeah, he would literally, figuratively be, and I don't want to, I hate using this terminology, triggered whenever he saw King Kong. And he would go into these insane 400-word posts about, how much he hates this character, how much he doesn't consider this character real. And I warned him many times, please, just, ease off of this. And it got even worse when, during the King Kong rants, he would complain about, oh no, the true first kaiju film was The Lost World. So when I started posting like classic paleo artwork, because that thing kind of ties into the kaiju genre heavily, and it's just
Oh
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just
when you
beautiful.
get stuff like Primal Rage or whatever.
Not just Primal Rage, but just a lot of those beautiful illustrations, however scientifically inaccurate they are, from the 50s and the 40s of dinosaurs and whatnot, which were a big influence on like the kaiju genre we know today, as well as early dinosaur fiction from like pulp novels, which kind of predates a lot of the stuff we would see in the kaiju genre, including I know there was one astonishing, like one amazing science fiction story. I don't know if it's the exact magazine title, but it actually featured a rather intelligent giant Tyrannosaurus fighting against an invasion of aliens. So stuff like that, and and plus it's just good artwork to share. But you're right, there is a lot of dinosaur fiction that's so closely connected to kaiju that it's almost give or take. But then when I started sharing that stuff, this same fan went into crazy rants about how this doesn't count as kaiju. So not only, yeah, go on.
Well, I mean, as inaccurate as some of these dinosaur things are, I mean, you can argue it. It's dinosaurs. I mean, like the V-Rex or the meat eater. They're
Hmm.
wildly inaccurate for what an actual T-Rex is.
Yeah,
So you can consider it something its own thing. It could be a kaiju.
yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it's like the vast majority of kaiju, traditional kaiju or offbeat kaiju characters, if you will, regardless how you feel about this franchise, they are directly dinosaurs. Titanosaurus, Godzilla, Anguirus, the beast from 25,000 Fathoms, Red King,
Ankylosaurus,
Gamera.
killer of the living.
Yes. I always, back then I always thought that dub was Killer of the Village. It's like, what? There were villages back then? What?
Then when you grow up older, you're like, wow, he's got a brain in each limb. That makes total sense.
Indeed. But yeah, there's a lot of dinosaur characters in kaiju fiction, but they're so closely connected to one another that it really is a case of give or take, or even like the mixing of both genres. So it really kind of annoys me when somebody goes out of their way and say, "Oh no, the last dinosaur doesn't count as a kaiju film," even knowing that it's basically a kaiju film about dinosaurs. So
I mean, it's like trying to discount Asenborg. Every single thing in that is well, at least for the first 20 some odd episodes, they're regular dinosaurs. Then they start getting weird looking.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, though, as much as I like Great Dinosaur Eisenborg, better known here in America as Attack of the Super Monsters, it is funny that you can only use the same like eight dinosaur suits over and over again, and just give them new names and new relationships to previous dinosaur suits. Or the
Yeah, that pterodactyl prop got used so much. I think that was the most reoccurring one.
Yeah, yeah.
Easy.
And what's sad is, like, had they done kind of the smart thing and had it like the same kind of dinosaur characters reoccurring, I wouldn't mind that much. But the fact that it's a brand new pterodactyl every episode, even if the pterodactyl survives at the end,
They
it
could have put a tail on it and call it a Rhamphorhynchus, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly. So it's like, again, I think Metalder is a greatly underrated show because it had a wonderful cast of recurring villains, and it's something you don't see in Japanese fiction. I don't know what's the thinking behind that. Wouldn't it be a lot cheaper to have recurring villains than a brand new monster suit every week, even if a lot of those monster suits were recycled from previous suits? But I've heard the argument that Japanese children are fickle, and they want a new monster every week, regardless if they care about it or not. But yeah, so basically, I went into that whole rant just to basically tell the naysayers that screw you.
So basically, they're like modern day kaiju fans.
Yeah, yeah,
Have
but
to have
it's
you
like
sleepy every time.
yeah, but like again, there's also a lot of like veteran gatekeepers that don't really see the situation that's happening in the bigger picture. It's like, oh no, kaiju is used only to discuss Japanese monsters from movies, and it's like, meanwhile, you look at Peacemaker, the uh, TV show with John Cena, and the big bad of that series, they call a kaiju on multiple occasions. It's like, you know, there's other. You could look outside your butthole, so to speak, sir. So, oh, this is going to be very controversial. James, do you want to say anything in your defense while they take me to the guillotine?
Absolutely not. I
Okay,
haven't said anything yet.
okay. So to the Gearon team. Okay.
But it is like watching giant robot shows. Those are technically kaiju, but I think there's another term that they like to use. You
Super
know, like Red
Robot.
Baron. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Red Baron, Mock Baron, D17.
Yeah, it's a good thing you bring that up because, again, similar to like the cross pollination, oh, there's a better term, between dinosaur fiction and kaiju fiction, there's the super robot or giant robot genre. And granted, some of those things are so kind of partially far removed from kaiju that they just happen to be science fiction stories with giant robots in them, like the vast majority of Gundam entries. But then again, you have things like Giant Robo, both the beautiful animated series from the '90s, but also the original live action TV show and the manga that inspired both. And that was directly influenced and spawned from the kaiju genre of the 1960s, the kaiju boom, if you will. And every once in a while, you'll find so-called realistic mecha anime that has major kaiju elements in it, whether that was intentional or not. Like Gundam, oh god, what is it? Gundam. I forgot the exact terminology, but there's a Gundam movie called Pathway of the Trailblazers or something, where it's one of the few Gundam series that deal with extraterrestrial life as a major plot element, and every enemy in there is basically a liquid metal morphing creature that appear in numerous sizes, from human to gigantic planet-sized creatures. And then, of course, there's like the anime series Gunbuster, which, even knowing the main focus is on the pilots who pilot the giant robots, it is so filled with monstrous creatures left and right. And sadly, like, even I, at a time, was so blinded by the separation of these various subgenres from one another that for the longest time I never considered Neon Genesis Evangelion a kaiju related show, until eventually it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is just a giant Ultraman fanfic, and it always has been. And now we're here in 2003, where not only is Evangelion considered a cornerstone of more modern kaiju fiction, but now the EVA-01 can connect with Godzilla and Kamen
Yeah,
Rider and Ultraman to become Shin Universe Robo.
yeah.
So,
Just I showed that to my friend at work, and it blew his mind.
well, it's funny. I saw that commercial, And it's like, oh yeah, I was not okay. First off, I wasn't expecting the big reveal just to be like a crappy like Megazord combination, but I wasn't expecting them to take it all the way and make a brand new suit and film live action footage. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's both utterly ridiculous and unneeded, but I also love that we live in the reality that something like that exists. So and also it kind of shows like a sense of humor from the people behind the Shin movies and the merchandising to actually come up with something like that. Even though I know there was a lot of diehard Godzilla and Ultraman fans who were kind of just rolling around in their respective graves, aka modern day sleeping beds. They're still alive. Just how insane that whole thing was. So, but no, you're right. The whole super robot genre, particularly, especially the anime shows from the 70s and some of the live action ones, Daitetsujin 17 and Super Robot Red Baron, particularly, they definitely do tie into the world of giant monsters. So, but yeah, it's become very labyrinthal. Damn it, what's the term? Labyrinthine, labyrinthine. We'll go with that for now.
I don't know.
Um,
Every time I try to use big words to sound smart, it comes out way dumber than if I just use a normal word.
well, the alternative is we just go like big monkey die, big lizard. Yeah, but it's definitely kind of become maze like. The whole genre of giant monsters and kaiju and whatnot. So that definitely kind of opens the flood doors for what I can draw and not draw. But at the same time, it's like I wanted to make that incredibly clear right now, especially if we get some naysayers later in the comments or something. But basically, yeah, I'm at a point in my life where screw it. If it's big and it can destroy a city with style, it's a freaking kaiju. So, how do you?
You just hang out of the wrong side of the fandom, honestly. I
Oh,
don't experience these people. I did way back at the day in like early 2000s when the fandom was incredibly small. You had just Toho Kingdom, Rodan's Roost, and
mm-hmm.
Ballard's Tokyo Monsters. That was pretty much the entirety of the fandom.
Oh yeah, and then they got all angry when it was like a fantasy match between Dragon Zord and Mecha Godzilla, or was it Dragon
No,
Zord and Gigan?
no, it was the Daikaiju Decimachu. Um, kind of like how they do over there at the Toho Kingdom on their Kaiju War Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
But
Fantasy matchups.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the two I remember was Death Ghidorah versus Biolante, and just everybody was just screaming, "Oh, fire wouldn't hurt her; she could regenerate." Da da da. And then Legion versus Space Godzilla, because everybody was trying to prove like, yeah, his beam twists, but it doesn't. It always hits a point that is within the eye range. It's not like his beam can go all the way around and hit you from behind to get
Mm-hmm.
around Legion shields. But it was just, you can debate that. That's fine. But when they just started screaming, yelling, using just vulgar language and everything else, I was like, oh my God, this is so stupid.
Yeah, to get worked up over these minor things. And I know that
Ugh.
you and I, me more so, we fall into this trap as well. It's like it's almost impossible to love anything without a bunch of, s- little babies getting in the way and pulling you into the mud with them, so to speak. But yeah, it's from what I remember, like Dragon Zord was actually allowed to be in that year's fantasy matchup. And I remember a lot of people got upset because, again, they didn't consider that character true kaiju, even knowing that technically it's just Godzilla in samurai armor. If you actually know the behind the scenes inspiration for the Dragon Caesar or Dragon Zord, is better known. So yeah, it really did suck. So, anyways, but
Now
yeah.
for something that doesn't suck.
Well, depends on your definition of this character here. So, so getting back to the whole giant robot thing, we'll get the giant robots out of the way before we get into the kaiju, although we might bump into a couple here and there. This is an old sketch gag I did a long time ago called Your Average Hollywood Mecha. And for the longest time, I thought of giving him like a kind of Pacific Rim style Jaeger name, like Hollywood Hack or Tinsel Disgust or something. But and in the end, I decided just it's just your average Hollywood mecha, and it's basically a joke at a lot of the trends you see in Hollywood movies whenever they try to do giant robots. Now, granted, there's a completely opposite end to giant robot design in Hollywood films, where they go overly complex to a point where these characters could not work in any form but CGI or the illustrations they were originally created. Like many of the early Transformers robots. It's like, yeah, they're impressive just in the sheer amount of details, but they also just come off looking like junkyard vomits in a sense. But yeah, this was kind of heavily inspired.
Gray junkyard vomit.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I may have failed immensely with this design here because I actually gave him a little bit of color. I should,
Yeah, you give him too much color. It should have been just monochromatic and just looking like it was from a black and white movie.
yeah, exactly. Although I also decided to kind of keep the more garish colors to a minimum, and he's mostly kind of a very plain pastel military beige here. So, but yeah, this is a character I finally was able to illustrate, and I finally added some extra gags and all and whatnot. But yeah, this was heavily inspired by a lot of giant robot cliches I see in American movies. And do you want me to go through each and every one of the things one by one, or do you have a question in general?
Oh, I have a question. I mean, I see Devastator's ball sack there.
Yeah, let's start with the ball. Yeah, so yeah, this was directly inspired by I got one Transformers or Bayformers, if you want to use that terminology, dig in there with the unneeded sight gag, and it's like and it's not just the Transformers films too. It's like RoboJocks, as revered as that cult flop was. Um, that one also has kind of unneeded sight gag where a giant chainsaw comes out of the Lesky giant robot and tries to cut our heroes. And of course, being a giant chainsaw, it's in a very phallic position, so to speak. But yeah, I threw in the giant balls. And what's even weirder is it makes no sense whatsoever. This is like something out of like a Tim and Eric show where it's just hanging there that has no function whatsoever. So it's like, have you ever seen those novelty metal testicles you hang in the back of trucks?
I live in the South. I've seen them all too often.
Oh yeah, yeah. That started out as an Adult Swim joke on a news program, on a false news program, but people liked it so much that they made it real. So, and in a sense, that was also an inspiration for the balls here. But yeah, let's get away from the balls. So, okay, so we have the easy to rip off head of an equally fragile neck, and as you can see, the neck is connected with duct tape. Laser gun with unlimited power that easily overheats and breaks down, but the audience won't care because lasers are silly when compared to relatable bullets. Yeah, I've heard that argument all the time from like regular moviegoers or just people with a casual knowledge of comic books, where it's like you tell them about the thermonuclear breath of Godzilla, and their first reaction is, "Yeah, but can he shoot a gun? That'd be way more destructive." It
Who do you hang out with that gives you these kinds of arguments?
idiots.
Honestly,
I'd name names, but I want to be friends with friends. Cough, cough,
I
Brayton,
just,
cough.
I, I just don't like. Man, that's such a cool monster. Gauss's the oral beam can cut through anything. Yeah, but is it like a gun? I just don't see that argument coming up.
Yeah, no, it's like I used to hang around in a comic book shop with unimaginative idiots, for lack of a better term, and it was amazing some of the arguments. It's like what is it? Superman can take on an atomic bomb and be okay, but it's or Godzilla too, for that matter. But then the first reaction somebody gives, it's like, I bet if you shoot a gun at his eyeball, he'll die. The guy took an atomic bomb to the face. That's like, oh, this guy survived a cinder block being thrown in his face. I bet if we throw a fish tank pebble, he'll fall. Okay, now I'm getting a little too sadistic. Okay.
Sounds like a whole room full of like Francis characters.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is going to be a very mean video. We apologize in
Yeah,
advance, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, a whole room full of boogies. That would just be terrible.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, easily breakable glass cockpit where you can see the A-list celebrity pilots clearly. B to Z list actors get fuzzier but no less breakable glass cockpits. I just realized it should have been pilots, not pilot, but at this point, yeah, I'll let that little typo go. And I'm not going to say who the two celebrities are, but I just randomly picked two character actors, so to speak. And of course, they're connected with the brain drift, which is another. I got nothing against the idea of the drift in Pacific Rim, but it seems like a little. It seems like a little too weird of a concept to pilot a big robot. So.
Seems like a very difficult concept to execute.
Yeah. Like the first film did it pretty well, but then when you get into the extended fiction, it gets a little
But
suspect.
I can understand it because then it's like anybody could pilot a giant robot. Da, 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 da. No,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be special.
Yeah. So or drift compatible. To be fair, though, there's worse examples outside of Pacific Rim where you have to be the quote unquote special to pilot these giant robots.
He
Um,
is the chosen one.
yeah, and I think the main reason the drift was created in Pacific Rim was mainly just to kind of give an excuse to make the robots more unique than just giant pieces of hardware. It's like the fact
Yeah.
that they're directly connected to the pilot's minds makes the robot kind of semi spiritual slash cybernetic in its own right, which I don't mind. But yeah, it's the logic kind of falls apart when you get to the sequels or the anime series where it's like, oh yeah, the drift doesn't matter anymore, so just move it with your arm. So okay, main power source or engine of the whole robot out in front and easy for opponents to target and destroy. That's something I've noticed a lot in like American fiction where not only is the overall robot incredibly flimsy built, but like the important parts where you think should be protected are like out in the open. And I don't know if that's like American exceptionalism where, oh yeah, I got this hot rod, I'm going to have the engine sticking out for everyone to see. That might work for a car engine, but not when it's like sensitive equipment like this. So
It's video game logic. Shoot
yeah,
the big red glowing flashing thing.
yeah, that is true too, because in real life, well, actually in real life, due to budgetary reasons, they probably would have the engine exposed and out in the open. So all right, never mind. This part here, this was directly inspired by the death of a beloved character in the sequel to Pacific Rim. Human-like robotic hand with opposable digits that will fall apart if any pressure is applied. Will totally vaporize if used to punch something or used to rescue a doomed secondary character. Yeah, giant robots can't punch shit. It's like in Japanese fiction or like comic book fiction, you'll have giant robots that can actually throw a punch and their fists are okay for a couple of goes. But in
Or her
American,
hands are just permanent fists and they can't open up at all,
yeah,
like Mock Baron.
yeah, that too. Or our good friend. Well, actually, I forgot. Daitetsushin 17 can open his hands sometimes. But yeah, it is funny. Like the hands are just these giant clumping fists. But in American fiction, it's like, yeah, the robot can pick up a car and then suddenly all the paint shatters and the gears start to come apart. So, but yeah, this was heavily inspired by the poor death of Aguchi, I think, the girl from Pacific Rim who unceremoniously got killed in the second film. So,
I I don't remember many details of the second movie. I watched it once and God, that was enough for me.
yeah, no, you're not missing much. That was like what I think the best way to describe Pacific Rim Uprising. It's Pacific Rim without the heart or soul. So, and I'm not just talking about Guillermo del Toro was no longer connected to that movie. So, extremely weak and fragile knees, of whom the opposing giant robot or normal-sized toddler with a toothpick can easily tear apart. Yeah, is it just okay? Andres has complained, saying that this is just me and me alone, but I really do feel a lot of giant robot designs in American fiction have ridiculously weak knees. So, or it's like see-through knees where there are no knees there, and you could easily throw a stick in there and break the robot while it's walking. So,
I can't really think of any examples.
yeah, so
I mean, other than like, um, kind of Iron Giant has like the big bulbous, lower past the knee and past
mhm.
the elbow,
Yeah,
but I can't think of too many other ones.
yeah, I know that in some of the Transformers animated shows, they made a big deal about attacking the interlocking sections of a robot to take them down. So you would end up with kids taking out Decepticons by attacking the knees, so to speak. But
That's
now
what
that,
children need to learn.
yeah,
Take
go,
them out by the knees.
yeah, watch them wiggle. But no, you're right. I never noticed. Like, I love the Iron Giant, and that's one of the best robot designs, period, in fiction, American or otherwise. But yeah, he does have like nice calves, but crappy legs and knees. Oh my god. You should have spent more time with family. Okay. Haphazardly included, pointless, entrance holes or doors for smaller monsters and regular human assassins to crawl into to murder the pilot or destroy the robot from within. Filmmakers will retcon these as exhaust ports years after the fact when questioned. So, of course, this joke doesn't work too well because there's like a giant wooden door right there that you can easily open. But, it's
All I
up.
could think of is like Talos and Star Wars with that.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's easy to get inside of Walker, huh? It's Imperial Walker. Okay. So, all right. Extremely small monster threat the audience can wrap their unimaginative heads around that can
Well, that's
just.
just being presumptuous right there. Unimaginative heads.
Yeah, well, again, I've talked to these people, so. Well, Godzilla's not scary. Zombies are scary. They're both scary. They're both murderous. So just. But Godzilla can destroy an entire neighborhood just by looking at it the wrong way. Can destroy a giant robot with great ease, but will die instantly if hit with smaller weapons like a handheld pistol or a wooden bat, operated by the lead female love interest. So, and of course, it's sort of a terrible xenomorph gag there. So, and he's looking at one of the doors that are wide open right there. So, okay, it's like, oh boy.
It's kind of like what they did in Andre's Draco Azul book.
Yeah, which one?
Well, they worked their way in. His oh, I feel bad if he watches this and I can't remember the name of it.
That's okay. We like Andres. He can slide as far as this gag goes.
Blood's of the title. Anyway, it was the last one he wrote.
Oh,
But yeah, all the
the novels. One of the novels he
yeah,
made. Oh, okay. Yeah, I
yeah.
only have his comic books.
No, I've read the novels.
Okay, good for you. You get a gold star because you're smarter than me. You can read. Okay.
It's a lot. It's getting to be a lost art anymore nowadays. It
Yeah.
seems.
Yeah, to be fair though, miniaturized creatures, if they attack the giant robot in numbers, could probably take it down. Much like how, if you're like a human being is a pretty sturdy creature, but if you're in the middle of an army ant colony, it's not going to be very easy. So,
I
but
can outrun it though.
yeah,
That's the problem. I can get away from it. Now, if it's like a rabid band of, I don't know, just the biggest band of squirrels where I can run my ass down, then yeah, maybe that would take me out.
yeah, good point. Yeah, it's like, and I'd also mention piranhas and killer bees, but
Oh yeah.
killer bees keep them themselves, and piranhas, contrary to popular belief, they're not as ravenous as people think they are. So it's like so much so that the whole thing about them going to the frenzies are only because it's like vultures when a good piece of meat has been readily available for a long time.
I
So
still wouldn't want to be in the water with a pack of them though.
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's like what is I
They're gonna
saw.
go. They're gonna go for the tender parts first.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, if you consider nanotechnology, that's a whole different ballgame in its own right. So, yeah, I think smaller is better in this regard. Now I feel bad about making fun of this whole thing, but yeah, there's been plenty of times where it's like, oh, this is a giant robot that can warp reality. Who cares? Bunch of zombies can take it down. What? By the way, the comic book shop in question was the Comic Bug, and most of the people who I've had these conversations with have gone on to lesser lives. So, I am a sadistic bastard. Thank you for joining me tonight, James.
It's called karma.
Karma, yeah, or just pettiness on my part. Karma and pettiness. Okay, product. Okay, this one's a little too dark. This is where my eternal paranoia starts to show. So, and will be used against me in a future court of law. Product placement, because of course there is, but your sheep-minded friends or family will hatefully yell at you if you criticize it, resulting in future attempt upon your life by them when censored. So yeah, so that's a little too foil hatty on my part. I apologize. So
I mean, I mean, product placement's always going to be there, but man, when you get to the Transformers, it is just or it's just abundantly there.
yeah,
But you know, the same things with non-Transformers. James Bond has crap tons of product placement, and now the Marvel movies have crap tons of product placement. It's not
mm-hmm.
like Rock and Roll Nightmare where we just have a soda can just make sure that it's like properly put, label out. We can see clearly what it is.
Yeah, I think product placement is particularly egregious when it's so obvious. Like if it's just in the background as a billboard, that's noticeable, but it feels like it could
But
realistically
you
be
can't
there.
make money from that unless it's up in center in the front.
Yeah, but it's like I think the worst kind of product placement is when the product placement completely destroys the mood of the sequence. Infamously, Man of Steel. It's like there's multiple sequences of
Oh yeah.
apocalyptic mass murdering destruction, but the the IHOP is perfectly okay. At
The
least its
IHOP and
logo.
the IHOP and the what is it called? The place that loans like uh wash machines and stuff out there. I can't remember
Mm,
what it is.
Maytag.
I don't know, but it is like a place where you can rent appliances and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah,
And
but
then you have the Mountain Dew robot in Transformers.
yeah, okay. That feels a little too much of like a cutesy ootsy gag, but and it's not forgivable at all. But it's also particularly egregious when there's an entire sequence of Mark Wahlberg yelling at somebody while he's like picking up all these perfectly undestroyed cans of Bud Light beer from the ground. But yeah, this product placement is a pretty terrible thing. So, but yeah, no, it's like Man of Steel. I think was the worst because it's like yeah, you have all this horrific destruction going on, but all the product placement while it's happening is a little disingenuous. Damn it, a little. Oh God, inappropriate. I should say. Yeah,
I'm trying to think if
inappropriate.
there's any product placements in any of the Godzilla MonsterVerse films. I can't think of anything that was too
You,
egregious,
yeah.
other than like American military gun ho, you know,
Well,
type of thing. But
ironically, when we'll get to some military bashing a little bit in this picture, ironically, they wanted the military's involvement with the MonsterVerse Godzillas, but from what I understand, the story was that they wanted the military to actually kill Godzilla himself at the end, completely ignoring the fact that he's supposed to be the good guy in the movie. And as such, they said, but Godzilla's supposed to be the good guy, and it's like, oh, well, then we don't want to have anything to do with this movie. So you still get a bit of that militarism, military worship. It's like Godzilla swimming with Navy ships in perfect row. But the fact that they were able to do those movies without the help of the military says a lot about what little integrity they kept for the character. So, but it's funny. I like to think that what really happened in the meeting
well, they
was
have to make up for '98. You know, the
yeah.
military was just missing every shot in that movie, and looked like freaking morons in that film. They had to make up for it. They're like, we can't let this happen again.
Yeah, but on the bright side, the Blockbuster and Kodak signs were left intact. Oh my goodness! Remember Blockbuster? Anyways,
I
um,
worked there.
yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
where I developed my DVD obsession, where I have like 8,000 movies all alphabetized. It literally my room is like a library. It's pretty sickening.
Right.
If I just watched the movies that started with A, I think I counted 147 movies I have that just start with A
Mm-hmm.
in the title.
Mm-hmm.
It would take me damn near probably a month just to get through it.
Right. Right.
And then when you get to the like S, R, and T, oh, just screw it. Or G for me. G in mine is a big one too.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't watch these in a lifetime.
Yeah, it's like I've started to realize I got too many DVDs on my end. Although most of my DVDs I did with a DVD recorder while those things were still readily available. So I have more movies recorded off of television than I do actually on DVD. So
Well, you could still like You could still record them off like Netflix or some one of your streaming services with a DVD recorder. Just you just have to have like a little box that runs the little stick you have
Mm-hmm.
through an actual audio video cable into your DVD recorder and stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, no, I have one of those boxes, but the DVD recorders themselves, they're nobody's making them anymore, and if they go
No,
extinct, yeah. And sadly, I've actually taken my DVD recorders to various repair shops around here and asked if they could repair them, and they just said, "Oh, just buy a cheap one off eBay." It's like that
yeah,
doesn't, yeah, that's not what I wanted.
that's kind
Okay.
of what I've had to do though because there's so many monster movies that are just on a streaming service.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, it's like Sweet Tooth. That's only on a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
The
The Sea Beast so far I don't
yeah,
think has a DVD release. So
no, the Killing Tree,
mm,
which it's stupid as shit. Yes, I
yeah,
understand,
yeah, it's
but
not a giant monster movie, but Trial of the Screaming Forehead never received a proper physical
yeah,
release, even though it just recently been made available on Tubi television
yeah,
officially.
and
So
like most recently, like the Devil Below that has
mm,
like all those. It has like a big giant Cthulhu like queen monster and all these other monsters under the ground.
I didn't even know that. So okay, all
If you
right,
have Netflix, it goes off on the 16th. You better watch it.
you got to be kidding me, really? Yeah,
Yeah, they're removing it.
Yeah, Netflix, HBO Max. I'm not going to call him Max. Screw David Zaslav. And Disney Plus. They've been culling their libraries left and right, and not in like ways where okay, we'll eventually see it in another format. No, like literally tax writing off all these things and putting them in the vaults, never to be seen again.
Oh yeah,
So
that's what's gonna happen to Willow. I don't think Willow's ever gonna get any kind of.
yeah,
I, granted, I don't think I'm missing anything. I didn't watch it, but I don't think I'm
I
really missing anything with
I
it.
tried watching it. I watched the first 4 episodes, and I wasn't overly impressed. The movie is way better, of course, but at the same time, that's sort of a nasty little thing to do to anybody's works, and especially when it's a collaborative work amongst different
Oh, especially
producers
when
and writers.
it hasn't been out for 6 months,
Yeah,
and you're already
exactly.
like, holy crap!
Yeah. So yeah, screw Hollywood. And speaking of which, let's continue making fun of them. Thermonuclear weapon that can only be manually activated during suicide missions. So, hence this giant atomic bomb with the big red reference for those of you born in the 1817s. And again, this was meant to be a joke about how a lot of American robots have very boring color schemes, but then they throw in
Yeah.
maybe a dash of color here and there to make it look a little interesting. So, but it didn't really work out. By the way, the I don't know if this joke works, but Scotch tape holding the the cockpit together. So okay, and we're almost done here. I can't believe. All right, extremely limited amount of antiquated ammunition that will please the gun owners and male teenagers and the paying audience. So, and over here we have magical MacGuffin question mark.
That
Um,
reminds me of my science experiment.
yeah, thank good man. Here, have
I
a.
like that movie. I had
I
the movie on Laserdisc. Laserdisc got scratched though, but
oh my goodness, yeah,
well, I have it on DVD now. But
yeah. Do you
I try
have
to
the?
get people to watch that movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad movie, but it definitely is
It's
a.
not, but it takes forever to get going though.
Yeah, and it
It's
is a.
almost an hour and 10 minutes in before the thing gets activated,
Mm-hmm.
and you do the whole fantastical adventure into the school.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is a slow burn of a movie. I much slower than I remember.
I think my science project, what the movie is meant to be sort of a teenage comedy. It only becomes a sort of fantasy adventure in the third act, but it's mostly a teenage high school comedy. But yeah, no, the movie isn't half bad, but it definitely is a product of its era. It's like you can kind of see that Reagan American arrogance popping up all over the place. But I also remember watching that movie all the time as a kid when it used to air on I think Showtime and Disney Channel back in the day. And of course, the dinosaur was one of the best looking dinosaurs in films back then. So rod puppetry. So
Yeah, much better executed than the same thing that would be used for Carnosaur 10 years later. Or
exactly. So
10? Maybe about 8. 84 is 84 is that, and 93 is
mm-hmm.
Carnosaur, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So 9
Okay.
years.
Now we have suspect AI that will turn evil in the third act, and
Oh, that's just gonna happen all the time.
yeah, but I made the AI look a little bit like the main villain of Power Rangers RPM, so Vengex. So,
The
all
little
right.
red dot. I was thinking more like Hal.
Oh yeah, Hal too, but also like in the Power Rangers RPM, he's just a giant pillar with a big red dot. So actually, to be fair, Vengex is just Hal 9000 Power Rangers wise. So I can see where that visual gag comes from. So visual reference. This is probably the darkest joke. Underpaid effects artists and animators kept off screen, not to offend the Academy voters among other parties. Hey, the writers are here too, and the arrows are pointing off
Yeah.
page. So that's a really dark joke. Like this joke right here, I think this is not going to make me friends anytime soon in Los Angeles, so to speak. So, but anyways, in your honest opinion, what did you think? I am a little too was I a little too harsh in my criticisms of giant American robots, or you think this is spot on?
No, it's pretty spot on.
Okay, okay. So
At least more for the 2000s. You could definitely see how Transformers is trying to course correct itself right now and throw in vast amounts of colors, personalities,
mm-hmm.
and the inclusion of like Arceus and Mirage and
Yeah.
all the Beast Transformers, which I was never a fan of Beast Transformers. I tried watching an episode recently. I was like, damn, that CGI has not aged well at all.
It was
They
great.
look they look like modern day Disney ripoff movies that you'll find in the $5 bin at
Oh, they're
Walmart.
not that bad.
They have the same soulless look in the eyes. It's
Mm-hmm.
frightening.
Okay.
It makes me appreciate CGI when it was done pretty well, like the Starship Troopers CGI show. Which man, I
Mm.
wish that was on DVD.
That
I'd
was
love to go
actually,
back and watch
yeah,
those.
that show I think was made by the same people who did Beast Wars, but many years after the fact. So okay, but yeah, that's your average Hollywood mech. Probably one of the now looking on it, it's a pretty mean joke, but it's done. I'll be posting it maybe this Saturday, so or maybe later this month. But yeah, there we go. So now from one crappy robot to a crappy robot that kind of works. We won't talk too much about this one because it is an original character, but this is MechanoHogson. And if that last robot we just dealt with was a bunch of spoofs and nasty digs at American giant robot design, this is sort of a catch-all reference to several Japanese giant robots. And the story behind this character, MechanoHogson, is that he's the personal giant robot of my recurring mad scientist character, Jack Hodgson. And Jack Hodgson is a brilliant genius, but he's also an egotistical buffoon. So, of course, he'd make his giant robot in his image. And, as awesome as Jack Hodgson can be, I think it's safe to say giant robot design is not one of his strong suits. Because I deliberately drew this character as crappily as possible, hence the out of proportion arms, and just the weird gangly looking nature of this thing. Because he didn't make this on the cheap, but he probably didn't know what he was doing regardless. And as you can see, the references in this robot. Well, the name alone is of course Mechano Kong from King Kong Escapes, but do you recognize anything vaguely familiar about this character?
I mean, it just basically kind of looks like every other 70s very humanoid Mazinger Z type characters
Yes.
and little tiny antennas of like uh eh, uh mag
Ambassador
oh
Magma?
yeah, I was trying to think what the word their name was. I know space giants da 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 da. That's what I will always call it. I will never. I couldn't remember if it was Ambassador Magma or something.
They called him Goldar in the Space Giants dub.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I was like, no, that's a Power Ranger monster.
It's okay. There's so many characters in fiction they can all afford to be named after one another. So, and plus, to be fair, Goldar came before Goldar, so that sounded wrong. Uh, but yeah, the even knowing that obviously Jack Hodgson was trying to ape his own hairstyle, it's that and the giant antennas are definitely references to Ambassador Magma. So, um, the weird tiki face from hell, though, I think I don't know if I took that from a Go Nanga giant robot villain, but yeah, that's not a fun face. It'd be a fun costume to make, I think. So, and of course, if you can see, the body is just both its colors. It's an inverse Jet Jaguar.
Hmm?
The colors of
Okay.
yeah. So
It's
the
hard for me to picture without the gaudy yellow, red, and silver.
yeah. Well, the body is definitely inspired by is directly based on Jet Jaguar, but the colors, if you took the colors of regular Jet Jaguar and inverted them, did a negative take on it, it'd be these colors right here. So yeah, this is anti Jaguar basically. And I gave him really horrific feet. I almost ended up giving him like the really nightmarish, no bending legs of the robot from the Aztec Mummy versus the robot. But I
Oh,
decided
jeez.
that would have been way too hard to draw and keep consistent, and it would kind of limit the character. So I just gave him these godly legs, ungodly legs here that are loosely inspired by that poor suit actor. That's one of the worst robot costumes ever. So,
I don't know. Target Earth has a pretty freaking terrible looking robot thing
but he
too.
can
It's
walk
just
easy.
it's cardboard and air duct uh, uh piping or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And there's
Oh,
just one of them.
yeah. So it's not like there's like one robot suit pretending to be a bunch of other robots running around the post-apocalyptic city.
No, that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Oh, just one robot doing all the jobs.
It's supposed to be an army of robots, but you never see more than one at a time.
Oh, okay.
At least the slime people made 3 suits.
Mm-hmm.
It used up the entire budget of the movie, but at least there was 3 of them on the scene at the same time.
Yeah, and plus the fog machine helps. It leaves a lot to the imagination.
Yeah, it does. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you think is happening here?
Yeah, exactly. Believe it or not, I would love to make a remake of the Slime People. I got big ideas for it.
Oh, I
Oh,
I love the concept of like a oopy goopy fish like people coming from under. I mean, I think it works.
yeah, yeah,
It's just
a subterranean
terrible,
invasion.
terrible execution.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have been a lot. I'm kind of disappointed that Tress Tomaine's character, the old beatnik in the white sweatshirt, sweater. I kind of wish his character got a more dignified end because it just feels like an unwanted jab against beatniks. So
Only characters I remember in that movie is the guy directly hitting on that man's daughter right in front of him and just blatantly doing it like, yeah, you're not gonna do shit about this. I'm gonna hit on her right in front of you.
oh my god! And I thought the father daughter interactions in Reptilicus were wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter will have sex with you. Go, my.
Both of them.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
both his daughter, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Oh, they're
Denmark.
fighting over you. They want that man piece. God.
I wish I was that young man's age. Also, my
Yeah.
daughters are hot.
Yeah, that's the creepy line. I wish I was
Hmm.
that man's age. I had both my daughters hitting on me.
Yeah. Oh my
Oh,
god. Yeah, and when like his fellow elderly scientists agreeing, it's like, oh, that young man's gonna get a lot of Denmark. Something. No, I'm not gonna say it. It's oh god, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me. I'm the one responsible for the horrors tonight, not James. So James, save yourself.
I
So
actually just bought that graphic. It's not a graphic novel, but it's a book with all the Reptilicus slash Reptilisar or whatever the hell they renamed it to.
oh yeah,
Um, all the issues. I bought that and the 2 giant volumes that have all the Conga stories in them, and
okay,
the Gorgo one.
okay. What company released them? Because the only ones I see are like incomplete collections and only have like 3 or 2 issues in them.
Oh, it's on Amazon. It's like $30 or $40 for it, but it has like all 26 issues in each of the Congo ones.
Mm.
And you know, it's the best quality that you can have without literally redoing the artwork. The
Yeah.
paper is very high stock and everything. Something library. I can't remember, but
The
I mean
Library of
it's
Monsters.
yeah, it's worth it. I know that they're getting like a hardback release or whatever, but I'm like, I don't care about it that much.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would-
but
I just want to kind of read them and see vintage comics from like the 60s and oh, and it had to be from the 60s and 70s because those
mhm.
movies weren't until 1960.
Well, the funny thing about the Gorgo, Konga, and Reptilicus comics were they were pretty much illustrated and scripted before the movies were released. So yeah, they kind of exist in some cases. I think with Konga, the comics were well into like their 20th issue before the movie itself properly came out. And of course, Gorgo was kind of kept in mothballs for I think 2 years because they couldn't pay the laboratory to get the prints out. And when they finally did, it was like 1962 as opposed to the original date that they wanted to release it was like 1960. But again, that's to the best of my knowledge, right off the top of my head. But
The
yeah,
Reptilicus ones are interesting. They're just basically your kind of retread of the story, and then just
hmm
basically people come into conflict with the giant monster. The Gorgo ones get into weird, like invading alien territory and everything else. That
yeah.
gets into like Marvel comic kind of Godzilla way.
I also love two other things I love about those Charlton comics, where the name of the company that
Yeah,
released them, that they're all loosely connected into a single universe. So it's sort of the Charlton MonsterVerse, so to speak. And also, I love that they kind of went out of their ways to make Gorgo, Agra, Gorgo's mother, Konga, and Reptilosaurus definite good guy creatures, as opposed to their movie counterparts, where they're just kind of pure bastards, especially in poor Konga's case. So,
well, they had to for Reptilicus. It
yeah.
even says it. It even says it on the back of the thing. It's like for the first two issues, it's known as Reptilicus, and then legal stuff happened. And they had to change his name.
Yeah. So, and it's sad too because these comics became technically public domain that there's been crappier reissues of these same books. Like if like what is it? Somebody released like a overly expensive um hardcover book called Steve Ditko's Monsters, where it was just a couple of the more boring issues of Konga thrown in. And it's like, well, if it's Steve Ditko's Monsters, he did a lot of monster comics. Where are the others? Even in the
Yeah,
public domain, there should have been something there. But with that said, no, I'm glad that they're finally getting some recognition. They're getting some proper notice. And again, I do love that there's this weird little comic connected universe that a lot of kaiju fans kind of overlook. It's like the fact that Reptilosaurus, becomes a family man with two kids and a pterodactyl wife is like one of the kookiest things I love about the history of giant monsters. So, with that said, though, any last thoughts on MechanoHogson here?
no, it's
The-
so good though.
yeah, okay. Oh, thank you. So, does it work as a deliberately shitty giant robot by a really crappy mad scientist?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Now, okay, I'm gonna have a bit of a embarrassing confession to make here. I've barely watched any episodes of The Return of Ultraman. What's
Don't
yours?
worry. I tried to rewatch it and I got up to shoot. I don't even remember. I know I didn't even make it to the double digits.
Wow.
I enjoy it, but there's two. I know. I feel bad saying anything negative about it since Go Hekati's character, his actor passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's too many freaking members on the team, and the three guys are all interchangeable with each other. They don't have any personalities to each other. That's how I
Mm-hmm.
know. It's like there's Go, there's three guys that all look the same, act the same, and don't have any differential between them. There's
Mm-hmm.
a girl and there's a captain. And I don't know. A lot of the stories are just random monster shows up. There's
yeah.
it I like a lot of the designs, like Kingosaurus a third,
Mm-hmm.
Gudon Twin Tail, Knuckle Black King, and even the more weirder ones like
Prisma?
yeah, I was trying to think of the Living Cloud, the Galactica stand-in. Um,
Oh, Vacuumon.
yeah,
It's so
and
sad I
then
know that.
and then the Storm one, the one that kind of looks like it's got like long tentacle arms, it's blue, big lips, kind
Oh,
of mushroom head.
yeah, he's sort of like a jellyfish monster, and he creates typhoons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
you have Seagrass and uh, Seamons, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of good monsters, but just a lot of the stories it just seems like random monster shows up. You know,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of variety with stuff.
Yeah, I have to kind of agree because from the few episodes I've seen, it just feels like kind of an echo of the original Ultraman.
That and
Um,
I have such issues with it. I have such issues with ultras using physical weapons.
mm,
That the ult and especially when you have such a MacGuffin bracelet that can do anything. I have such issues with that.
yeah, it's funny. It's like, yeah, for me, Return of Ultraman feels like it's an echo of the original and not as well done or as well cared for. Like the special effects and the creature designs are pretty good, especially some of the camera filming. But story and character wise, the fact that yeah, we have multiple members on this attack team, but we don't know any their personalities are thin to none. And the fact that the monsters are all pretty interchangeable with one another. And not only that, but some of the story choices are just insane. It's like, sir, we can easily defeat the monster if we. No, we have to use all the missiles. But, sir, we just have to press this button and the monster will go away. No, be a violent man. That's the military way. Okay, sure. And then all Tokyo gets blown up. It's like, come on. But it's like, yeah, another thing I would say, like Return of Ultraman kind of suffers from a lot of forced melodrama that I've noticed is kind of horrifically commonplace in Japanese fiction, especially in television shows between the 70s, the 80s and 90s.
I don't
Um
mind that as much because when you go to the other part of the hemisphere, it becomes what's the term? I don't want to say cringy. It becomes unbearable.
mm,
Like I'd much rather have a melodramatic people like you would see in um I would say Mirror Man or uh freak D17 had a lot of melodrama to it. Um
oh, Daitetsu's in 1-7?
yeah, I'd
Yeah.
rather have like that people because frick people got murdered that they got crucified in that show.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
Um
like I don't mind D17 because that series, like that's the kind of like if you're gonna go over the top melodrama, at least they knew what they were doing. I appreciate it. But then you have things where it kind of destroys the narrative um, intelligence of these characters. Like, there's a lot of American shows where it's like, hey, I know how to defeat the monster. No, we got to do it the man's way, but we're going to get our asses beat. No, that's the way to do it. Okay, if you say so. Just dumb decisions from the characters, and that's the kind of melodrama that really kind of annoys me, Japan or otherwise.
oh,
So,
I thought you were talking about more like into like dead serious territory.
oh,
Like
no, no, no.
I like the dead serious stories. I
Yeah.
because when you go to the other part, you get incredibly noxious, over the top kitty like a
Mm,
giant one with his pants falling down. I just
yeah.
oh
Yeah, no, I don't mind dark and scary stuff happens. I just don't like it when characters act like idiots because the script was clearly undercooked, and the filmmakers thought it'd be funny just to do grimdark for the sake of doing grimdark at the cost of any intelligent writing whatsoever. Case in point, I like Goro Ibuchi, that writer. I know everyone loves him, but I really do think he's just an edge lord who gets off half the things he writes, and he thinks it's funny, and everyone else is too stupid to see it. So, and I get that kind of feeling with a lot of episodes of Return of Ultraman. But yeah, it is kind of yeah. So, thank you for telling me that you have barely seen any episodes of the series either, because
I've seen about a fourth of the series, and it's just not one that held my interest where I had. It's not like Ultraman, Ultra
mm-hmm,
7, and Ultra Q, and uh, I think Leo kept with I stayed with the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I love the character of Leo.
Yeah. Yeah, and Leo is kind of an insane enough show where the failings of Return of Ultraman can be forgiven in that series because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like, what is it? Leo has some really atrocious monster costumes and characters, but the
Oh,
characters, yeah,
I don't
but
think they're that bad.
well, yeah, well, it's like, what is it? It's a wild beast from outer space, and it's a guy in a silver jumpsuit. But with that, and I like that character. It's kind of fun to have like a simplistic looking spaceman berserker creature. But with that said, no, I kind of like Ultraman Leo. You can kind of forgive because it's so bombastic and crazy that even when it doesn't work, it's still entertaining. Whereas Return of Ultraman, it just feels like again a sleepy echo of the original Ultraman because the original,
Yeah, I think it's my biggest problem with it.
yeah,
It just feels too carbon copy of it.
yeah, exactly. And it's a shame too because I know Return of Ultraman has a lot of its extreme fans and it's a big inspiration on the Shin universe. But with that says though, yeah, there are a couple of like memorable monsters from the series, and of course we have Twin Tail here.
Well, there's a lot of memorable monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I will give it that.
Yeah,
Nearly every monster in that series is a hit. There's very few stuff like I think it's like Garbrodus, that rock monster, Ghostron. Those are just yeah
been there, done
to
that.
me.
Yeah.
But there's Sarton. I like Sarton. He's an ugly mother fricker.
Oh yeah, the
But
guy with the trunk.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the ugly elephant guy. And hell,
Don't
they
talk
even
about John Hurt that way, you horrible man. You.
I mean they even reference him in Ultraman Z with
Mm-hmm.
Alien Barbosa. He's got a cloak that's made of Zartan's hair. He just throws it over himself. It's like the cloak of invisibility.
Hmm.
So speaking of which, my dad has been watching that with me, and he's been getting through it. Um,
Okay.
Interesting enough, he likes the Alien Barbosa episodes the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because the dubbing makes the character so much better because the comedy comes off a lot better.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when, like in the last episode where like Zet gets,
The
as a
talking sword.
yeah, Belly Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Belly Rock's like, fine, whatever. You will stab me into something great one day, and I want to be there when it happens. And then he does like his big Z pose, and you have your intro music playing, and then you got Barbosa just like, oh, I'm so sick of this fight. And then I'm trying not to be annoying and like point out like every single like Easter egg, whatever he
Mm-hmm.
pulls something out. He's like, these are Juron seeds, and I'm like, oh, that's a mammoth flower from episode 5 of or episode 4 of Ultra Q. I'm trying not to point out every single Easter egg because that's all he is.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's why I think it's why fans like him. It's just a big Easter egg monster.
Well, that's and I know callbacks to older obscure references can be looked down upon as just like nostalgia baiting, but with the fact that the Ultraman series goes out of its way when it can't afford to bring back a monster, it'll still go out of its way to reference it or homage it in some way, as opposed to Super Sentai or Kamen Rider, where these monsters are a dime a dozen and nobody cares about them anymore. Minus a couple classics from that original series.
That's about to go out the window with Blazer, though. I don't
Yeah.
think there's not gonna be. I'm
Well,
kind of looking forward to it, and I'm kind of not.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. But yeah, I was really hoping that with the advanced budget, we'd actually get some like returning obscurities we haven't seen in ages.
Yeah,
So,
but the new monsters look really good, though.
oh yeah,
Most of them do.
definitely, yeah, definitely. So, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I do appreciate that Susubarai Productions and the Ultraman franchise goes out of its way to do a lot of deep cuts of these various characters, even outside the Ultraman franchise. It's like for crying out loud, you gave the cybernetic mummy from one episode of Gridman his own anime, like wow, mind blown. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I do.
Or the fact that Twin Tail here shows up in episode. Ooh, I'm gonna say it, and someone might correct me. I think it's episode 7. It's a fireman. He shows up like the larval form of another
Mm-hmm.
monster.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, and in some cases it's a case where they're just reusing the same prop as a different creature, but in other
Yep.
cases it's like, oh no, that's the same monster from Ultraman Toro making a cameo. So
And his brother Gudon shows up and gets slaughtered by
yeah.
Nero Gyrosaurus. It's a very long, complicated name.
Yeah, yeah, but no, I do appreciate that Tsubura Productions have always been very cheeky about reusing its own assets and revisiting characters, and it's done in a lot of good fun too. It's like what is it? Great Dinosaur War Eisenborg. Our characters are watching television, and it's Ultraman and Ultraman Toro waving from the television screen. So yeah, I appreciate those kind of silly deep cuts, and I do love the fact that Twin Tails here has returned numerous times before, even in surprise cameos from out of nowhere.
Not for a long time though.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what is his most recent appearance was in Ultraman Decker, where there was an episode where they were chasing after Pagos, and
Was he in Decker?
I think it was Decker. That or I'm mistaken for the Ultraman Z episode coming up next week, the dub version. But
He's not in Z. I know that.
yeah, okay, yeah, but no, there's an episode of one of the recent Ultraman shows. I really do think it's Decker where they're chasing after Pagos throughout the whole episode, and they're
Oh, yeah, you're right. All the
yeah.
underground monsters.
Yeah, yeah, they're really playing like the episode is great on its own because they're really playing up the fact that this is basically Ultraman versus Baragon unofficially.
Yeah,
But then it's like that climax where they go underground and the Pagos is working with a Gudon and they've been raising like farmers from hell their own little clutch of twin tails to eat later.
yeah.
And that
Well,
was
it's
yeah.
a bunch of underground monsters. It's like 4 or 5 of them.
That's right. There is another underground monster in there. I forgot who. Oh my.
Is
Okay, I'm gonna have to
is it
look.
is Magular in there?
Magular. No, I don't think Magular. Hold on. I
I
will.
know it's like 4 or 5 monsters, and I think the episode was done because it was a big send off for a lot of those suits. That because they weren't usable anymore,
Mm-hmm.
hence why they were used in very low lighting underground stuff like that, kind of trying to hide it.
Oh yeah, sort of
Which
like.
is weird because they're reusing the Vanilla suit, and that looked kind of rough in Z or in Trigger. That
Mm-hmm.
that looked like a stage suit.
Oh, it was a stage suit. They just refurbished it a little bit. So.
Yeah, they need to refurbish it a little bit more though.
But I appreciate that they went out of their way to kind of give these monsters a last hurrah. Okay, so the episode in question is from Ultraman Decker, and yeah, the other monster was Teleston. So it was Gudon, Pagos, and Teleston working together to raise a colony of twin tails for either food or conquest.
If I remember, it's a send off for one of those suits, right? The Gudon suit is
Yes.
gonna get retired.
Yeah, I think it was. But no, it was very nice that they went out of their way cuz okay, the episode in question is called Subterranean Monster Appears and Appears. Like that like literally that's what it's called. Like I
It looks like all the twin tails are like Bandai toys just flopping around.
yeah, but no, that's the thing. They went out of their way. They had no budget, no right to do this without the budget. But
Yeah, they went the King Joe route there.
yeah, yeah, and Agira is also in the episode too. I forgot he's in it. The one of the capsule monsters from Ultra 7 whose costume was really in bad shape. But no, the fact that they went out of their way to do this spectacular little episode with the very small means they had really shows kind of the spunky spirit Tubai Productions has, as opposed to like more better budgeted shows like Super Sentai or Kamen Rider who barely give a crap about legacy or even just basically what happened the week before.
It's
So,
crazy the Gudon suit is kind of rough as it is,
mm-hmm,
considering all the like. I think it was like 2004 or whatever when it was remade for Bibius or something.
mm-hmm.
But then you get suits that are constantly in the water, like Takong and Gazora, and they're still being used. They're still in good shape.
Yeah, to be to
Usually,
be
suits that are in the water and everything, like look at a Godzilla suit. As soon
yeah.
as a Godzilla suit goes in the water, it never goes into another movie the
Yeah,
same way ever again.
yeah, I think creature costume construction is getting a lot better these days. And of course, we all know that the what is it, Gubira, that giant walking narwhal-looking monster. That costume is virtually invincible. So I don't know what they made that out of, like antium or titanium. But so, anyways, but no, Twin Tail has always been a very interesting monster. It's another subterranean monster, And I don't. Apparently, it's a creature from. Again, sadly, despite how iconic this monster is. And before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, no, that's not his penis. He's technically a giant worm that crawls on his front legs to make a scorpion-like body shape. So this is basically him kind of going to an arc like a scorpion. So this isn't his penis sticking out. This is his real head, and this is the rest of his body being curled up against you. It'd be the equivalent if somebody you knew was always walking on their hands and using their legs to fight you. This is basically what's going on here. So
The most proper way to fight people.
yes. Take this. I'm being kicked in the face multiple times by in my face.
And it is a very popular monster because it is referenced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not so much nowadays, but
Yeah.
like you have that Ultraman Taro dragon monster that's like him. Again, you have the Fireman monster.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Jumborg Ace monster. I forgot. I don't know what it is, but there's a Jumborg Ace monster that's basically the same thing, where it's a big tail and it's got a long neck thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they liked that.
Oh, the design aesthetic.
Design.
Yeah, the design aesthetic of having, making the monster suit look like the head is lower and the rest of the body. In an attempt.
Kong could be argued to be the same way.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other Leo monster that looked like it was made from the Kong suit. It looks like a big onion. It's got a propeller on the top of its head.
Oh yeah, that weirdo. Yeah, and also like famously the Bogon monster from Ultraman Towards the Future.
Oh,
Yeah, although
my favorite Ultraman Great monster. I couldn't remember. I wasn't even thinking about him.
yeah, and technically that again, that's another monster where if you don't know where this the idea is, you just assume it's another dickhead, literally. But the thing with Bogon is he's technically a mutant tadpole or some sort of weird Siamese
I thought it was
twin
like a
monster.
slug. I always thought it was a slug because the way Jack's like, he lives underground, so I just always assumed it was like a slug or something like
No,
that.
no, he's a
Like
heavily.
Jack automatically knows everything about this monster before it even shows up. I
Mhm.
realize he's bonded with Ultraman, but how the hell did Ultraman know about this? I
Yeah.
assume that Ultraman can feel Gouda's essence in a creature, but he shouldn't know anything else about it.
Yeah, no. The Charlie, the scientist character in Ultraman Towards the Future, he says that the monster is basically a mutant amphibian type creature, like a sort of tadpole. Although they may have been referring to it like the creature has yet to transform into another form. But yeah, Bogon's a weird one. But yeah, some of those monsters that are trying to ape the design of Twin Tails, some of them work great, some of them don't work so well. Like I'm not going to say the name of the creature because I honestly don't care about them. But there's a similar monster to Twin Tails that shows up in Ultraman Tiga, and the design is nice and all, but it's so flimsily constructed that you can tell the actor can barely move around in it. Whereas Twin Tails, when it's done right, you can really get a lot of movement with this creature. So, but yeah, it's a memorable design and arguably more. Okay, so the deal with Twin Tails, just to get out of the way, he's an ancient worm-like monster from the Jurassic period who was both the natural enemy and food source of Gudon, a more traditional kaiju monster, bipedal kaiju monster, I should say. And both monsters showed up in Tokyo, and apparently their presence was enough to make the government Japan consider actually bombing Tokyo with an atomic bomb. Which, again, melodramatic overkill and stupidity in the writing. It's like there's been plenty of times where you had more than one monster show up in the city. You could easily, you don't need to go that far. So
And the fact that Gudon and Twin Tail, they even pointed out in the episode, they both evolve the same attributes. They
mm-hmm.
both have whips, which is just crazy that a predator and prey would both have the same attributes as each other.
Yeah. So what's funny is that in some series, even though the two monsters are technically each other's natural, one's prey, one's predator, they when forced to fight against an Ultraman or another character, they will team up and fight. So
Bogal
yeah.
for Bibius, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
As she eats both of them.
Karma and
Yeah,
pettiness, petty karma.
I liked
Yeah.
Bogal. I like Bogal's first form.
Yeah.
I don't really care for all the other
Yeah,
ones.
Bogal was a great villain in general. She's an evil alien monster who can assume a human form, and she can devour other kaiju and gain their power and strength. Not exactly their abilities, But yeah, it's a great middle ground of supervillain and kaiju that I wish they did more in the Ultraman series.
I
And
wish she was more of a reoccurring villain
yeah,
instead
I
of
was
just
about
like showing up for like the first 7 or 8, and then she shows up 2 more times way down the line
mm-hmm.
in much different forms.
Yeah, exactly. And to be perfectly honest, yeah, I was about to say the same thing. To be perfectly honest, I think she would be a great villain to bring back and have her as like either not exactly a main villain, but like a sub general to whoever the big bad is. And there's
Well,
a
that and have Hideki, Ultraman Hideki, get his revenge on her
yeah,
for murdering all those sentient crystal things.
yeah. So, oh my goodness. But the funny thing is, yeah, it's like there's a lot of really cool super intelligent evil kaiju to bring back, but I guess it's a lot easier just to bring back the more dumber monsters. Like Twin Tails here.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
real.
yeah, but no. The sad thing about Twin Tails is I'm very familiar with the character visually. I even have a toy of him, and it's definitely an appealing design once you get past the fact that no, that's not his penis. That's, he's just attacking you with his legs here. But he's a worm monster curling himself in a crescent shape. With that said, though, it's sad. I don't think I've really seen him in action in anything other than just like isolated fight sequences from Return of Ultraman. I've never seen his return appearance in Mebulus. I know he was in Ultra Galaxy Mega Monster Battle, but yeah, I don't remember that fight scene too well.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was very well lit. And with that says though, what I liked about this illustration, what I liked about it is the way you digitally did the inks on this one. And you,
Yes.
you did it in such a way that I didn't need to clean out the sides or anything, so I was able to do all these lighting effects reminiscent of the original Sunset battle. So I'm very happy with the way this one came out. And that was a big part to your help with this one and the way you accomplished it.
Oh,
So,
it took a while
yeah,
for the uh I guess the
scale.
scales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Muppet Bingley bits.
Yeah.
Oh my, I hate
I
to say,
could.
like, as much as I like Twin Tails, yeah, if you put him on the Muppet Show as a dancer in the background, no one would notice.
Do, 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 do,
Hey,
do, do,
mister,
do,
what's wrong
do.
with your penis? That's not my penis, it's my head. Those are my little whip legs. I'm a worm. That's why he's called Twin Tails. Those whips are his tails. They're not penises. Get your head out of the gutter, Brayton. Okay, do you think I overdid it with the twin tail dick jokes?
No.
Okay. Look, he has 3 of them.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up that Yu-Gi-Oh monster, the one that is basically Dragon Dick.
Oh, that terrible design. Okay, twin tails, you're
Yeah.
forgiven. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Why? What were you thinking? even
I
go.
don't know.
Yeah, even
How
go.
did how did they get past it? Like, oh yeah, that's a good design. That
Yeah,
works.
yeah. It's
That
like
won't offend nobody.
I know Japan has different standards for children's entertainment and mainstream animation, but at the same time, yeah, that feels like a really dumb oversight. So, give it time though. Digimon will come out with Hunk Stud Man or some nonsense like that. So, but yeah, poor Twin Tails. He's classy despite his appearance. Actually, now looking at you, darn it, I think I put the horrible image of dickheads into. This is gonna be a hard part to edit in the future. But what do you think of Twin Tails? Have you seen this episode? Unlike me.
Yeah, I've seen. It's a 2-parter episode. It's
Okay.
good. It's very enjoyable. It's the. Is it Matt? Is that the name of the?
Yes,
It's
I
Matt,
think.
right?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Okay.
the Monster Attack team.
They have the. They
Mm-hmm.
and they're rushing in there,
Da
shooting
da
their.
da 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 da
Yeah,
da da
they
da
they
da.
rush in there, shooting their bazookas and everything. They're actually
Mm-hmm.
helping, and then you get that. It's that first time you ever get that. Well, no, I can't say first time because Ultra Seven did it. It's the first time in the sunset. You know, God, they Super High really liked that. They're like, God, man, we want to make this memorable. We're gonna have a sunset in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've always enjoyed Twin Tail. But then again, I'm a huge Bogan fan. It was the first of the 5 Yeah, first of the 5 DreamWorks.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that DreamWorks made Ultraman toys when you think about them now.
Yeah.
But,
What do
it
they
was
do
the first
now?
of the isn't DreamWorks the same company as that does the movies and stuff?
No, no, no. DreamWorks, the toy company, is completely
Oh,
separate from DreamWorks, the movie studio.
okay.
So, yeah, and I don't think DreamWorks, the toy company, is with us anymore. I think they closed down shop ages ago, like
Yeah.
Trendmasters did.
My only complaint is his subtitle is just boring. Ancient monster, underground monster. I always hate monsters that have such boring, like,
Mm-hmm.
subtitles. I love ones that have, like, very unique subtitle. I think every monster should have a unique subtitle.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just adding the word like great, like Bemstar is great space monster. At
Mm-hmm.
least it's not just space monster.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So many monsters have ancient monster, or damn, so many of them have underground, which I think I every monster that was in that Decker episode had the subtitle of underground monster. I'm pretty sure no, Pagos has uranium monster as a subtitle.
yeah. So,
Doesn't make
what would
sense.
be? So, what would you go with a better subtitle for Twin Tails? I would go with questionable grandstanding worm thing monster Twin Tails.
I would have worm in it, like great worm monster or
Mm,
uh
Jurassic worm monster.
underground worm monster.
Yeah,
Anything.
yeah. Anything better than just underground this.
False worm monster. I don't know because the
Mm,
false head. It just anything to be, you know, just differential from each other.
yeah.
And I realize that's almost impossible to do considering you have frick like 1,000 Ultraman monsters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If even if you're not even counting the ones that are like in other forms like Nice's TV commercials or Jonas's anime versions and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
or
There's still
all the monsters that aren't traditional monsters, like the Shadow Men zombies from Ultra Seven, and there's a lot of creature characters in Ultraman. So,
like what is Bogans?
hold on, I'm
Twin Brain Earth Beast.
Yeah,
That
that's a good name. That's a good
that
title.
is you're not going to have another monster that has that.
Yeah,
You get to go with that.
Yeah,
Two-headed worm. Anything.
yes. So ancient monster, underground monster. Yeah, it's yeah, pretty boring. So,
Like Baron Gas is ghostly poison gas monster.
mhm.
Damn, Ultraman Great had some good subtitles to their monsters.
Yes, and speaking of which, the ninth day, I'm finally going to upload that portrait of Gigasaurus. But before we continue, this is kind of a little off record. We've been going almost 90 minutes discussing these things. I think it might be good that we just keep this to 2 hours, and then maybe do more of these in the future because we got a lot of material just talking about a handful of illustrations and their influences.
It's the tangents.
The
It's the
tangents.
tangents.
Let's see where the tangent takes us. It'll be,
But
yeah.
yeah, I like Gudon because it's a very unique design.
Mm-hmm.
His roar, while not like beastly or anything, I think it was unique. I don't think another monster before him had it. I could be wrong at that.
Right, and you're
Um,
talking about Gudon, the predator of Twin Tails here.
well, Gudon's his roar was the Kong roar.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Tail, I like Twin Tail. I don't think his roar was used on anything before. I'm probably wrong about that, but
Yeah.
at least his look was never done before. So it's I feel sorry for the suit actor when he has to like do like bend over and touch his toes whenever the top of the tentacles have to like
Mm-hmm.
throw themselves down and like do give Jack his lashings for the day.
Yeah.
Believe in Jesus, ja.
Yeah, he does have a Jesus like glow to him in this illustration, doesn't he?
Yes.
I've died for your sins, Tokyo.
Does he get crucified? I don't remember if Jack gets crucified.
No, I think.
There is a cross though, isn't that? Yeah, because he fights the vampire. There's a cross in
Oh
that
yeah,
episode,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He throws it right into the giant vampires. It's gonna be fun editing these. I'm gonna find the little video bits and try to put them in. So
Super Right. He was a
yeah, yeah.
he wasn't.
EG
Was he Christian?
no, EG Tuberai and his family were Christians. So there was a
Okay.
lot of that iconography going on inside the Ultraman shows.
Yeah. That's yeah. Okay, that explains a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that. I think I read that somewhere, but I didn't want to say it if it wasn't true. But yeah, Gudon. It's it's a good monster. It's definitely influenced a lot of later monsters.
Twin Tails, not
Um,
Gudon.
I don't know why I keep going to his brother.
Yeah. So to be fair, though, there has been a lot of whipped hand kaiju's with whips
Yeah,
for hands. That
and
yeah.
I think that's the reason why I keep going back to Gudon and Twin Tail, because the problem with if it was just Gudon in the episode, I think he would have just been a forgettable monster.
Mm-hmm.
He would have just been something else. But paired up with something else like Twin Tail, um, yeah, everybody recognizes him. But then comes the problem of like trying to bring that monster back. Same thing with like Aberrus and Bel- uh, Benella. You know, you have the or Sigoris and Simons.
Mm-hmm.
To bring them back, you have to bring them both back, and that's
Yeah.
requiring two suits to do. So, but in that defense, Gudon has showed up a lot by himself.
Yes, yes, and he's a pretty good scrapper in his own right. I really do like the horn beetle appearance thing he has going on. To be honest, though, I think it would be an interesting wrinkle that maybe in a future episode they deal with a Twin Tails and a Gudon who, despite the way of their species, are actually friends and are either working together for a good cause or working together to cause even more mayhem. So, sort of like how some animals in nature will actually befriend each other despite being from completely different species.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would be nice because like you get that. It's like and the end of Zet when all those other monsters were kind of teaming up against each other because they were
Mm-hmm.
activating Ultra.
Oh yeah,
Damn, what is
the evil Ultraman robot.
what
Yeah,
was it called?
God, I don't. Oh man, hold on. I'm on the damn Ultraman Wikipedia right now. I'll try.
Zero is in the title. I it because it's an evil Ultraman Zero
Ultraloid
again.
Zero, I think its name was.
Ultraloid Zero, yeah.
Yes.
Where all the monsters just kind of team up. They're like, we don't like this. We don't like this
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Yeah.
And Takong and Gizera get to live, and everyone else freaking dies.
We like Takong. I'm glad he's okay. So, well,
Yeah, he's just a small boy with tentacle arms.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't bring back Zazan, the giant seaweed monster. That's such a ridiculously simple costume to recreate. So, the cheap hetero with the big lips. I'm a
yeah,
seaweed
the one.
man. I'm
Yeah, there's a
Sigmund the sea monster. I'm Zazan.
yeah, but he's pretty forgettable.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Well, that's the great thing about Tubai Productions. When they do bring back obscure, lesser kaiju, they really go out of their way. Like what they did in Ultraman Trigger and brought back the powered version of Dada out of nowhere, and it's one
Oh
of the
yeah,
best episodes of that whole series. So it's like, yeah, originally powered Dada had a really crappy power to make cars levitate, but when they brought him back, he
we're gonna
caused
throw
all
all the
the
cars at
cars to
you.
levitate. Yeah.
Yeah, or like when they brought back the I can't remember what the monster's name is. He's the one that makes up Tyrant's hands for that
Oh yeah,
Ultraman Z episode.
Babaras, I think its name was. That
Yeah,
was yeah, that was yeah. It's such a
they
shame they didn't bring that one back. That was a really good episode. You know, an evil
yeah,
kaiju that can talk.
it's a good suit.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
looks good. Far better than what I would have thought. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
Ace monsters don't get to come back all that often.
Yeah.
But it's yeah.
Well,
I'm still waiting. It seems like Leo monsters get the real goddamn shaft and like coming back.
mm-hmm.
You get Nova and you. I can't
Alien
really
magma.
call. Yeah, I guess that would be one. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Commander Black, but
Oh yeah.
that's not really a kaiju.
Yeah, it's like as horribly simplistic as Nova's design is. I still appreciate him a lot as a creature character, and I can definitely see why he was so memorable outside the simplicity of the costume. And
Well, it's also very Japanese
yes,
oriented tradition. You
yeah,
know.
but it's just a very fun monster. Period, and you can do a lot with the character. But it's also kind of nice that it's like the recent Ultraman Rigolos. I'm probably saying the name wrong. Miniseries that they're doing on YouTube. They really,
Oh,
yeah, they really leaned in and did their best to kind of make the alien magmas major villains again.
Yeah,
So yeah,
him
especially
wearing the darkness armor is weird,
yes, yes,
but
yeah. And I'm not going to say anything about the cute cat girl one. So no, you're not going to make me say it. Damn it.
I do like the show so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Dragon Ball Z anime esque. You know,
Yeah.
you have your the guy that becomes Absolute Diablos or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in his before I become an Absolutian, which shows that Absolutians are not born; they're just turned.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know about Absolutian Taros or the main one. I don't know if he's an actual Absolutian, but
Oh, so
everyone else is a turned character.
okay, all right. Yeah, no, I was wondering what was the deal with that weird Ultraman and the bullhorns, and it's like, oh, that's Tartarus before he becomes Tartarus.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
god.
mean, that's what I assume. It hasn't been done. I don't think it's been shown yet. I
Okay.
just assume that's him because he knows. Because in the Trigger episode, he keeps talking about using uh that space
Beast.
martial
Yeah,
arts.
Beast style.
Yeah,
Yeah.
B style.
Yeah, Absolute Tartarus. Yeah. Oh wait, no, not Absolute Tartarus. That's the main guy. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
for the one with the horns.
Diablos.
Diablos. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even recognize those. I knew he was
Yeah, it's
sus.
weird. His name should be Taros. I don't understand
Mm-hmm.
why they flipped the names.
Yeah. Well, I know Tartarus in Greek mythology is their version of hell.
Oh,
Um,
that makes sense.
yeah. So Dabios would be named after the devil. So Diabolic. I'm getting
Yeah.
a lot of these damn. No, that's the name of the cyborg. They got to do better with these names. I'm
The
so
show
confused.
really reminds me of Jew no, god dang it. Power Rangers the one with the cats.
Oh, Jungle Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jungle Fury. That's a really
But
good
it reminds
season.
me of that cuz all the teachers are animals
Yeah,
and they all have their own kind of styles.
mm-hmm.
Cat girl.
Yeah, absolute
Cat girl
Diavovo.
style where I can make simps pay for all my toys. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but no, I didn't even recognize that was. Yeah, I think you're right. That is Devilos in disguise. Although I don't know. I just figured he was just kind of a creepy little Ultraman because he wore like the face helmet with the horns. But
I mean, that's just my assumption with it. I mean, why
yeah.
else would you have a character with horns? Because he has every time they've come up with each other, especially in the previous
Mm-hmm.
special, the one with all the second hand Ultraman finally getting some limelight here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'll give it that. It's not they're not the best things, and I wish they were longer than like 8 minutes. But god dang it, at least some Forgotten Ultraman are getting some limelight here, like
mm-hmm.
721 and stuff like that.
Yes, yes, that is true. So again, I love how Tuber Productions does all these weird deep dives, especially when you least suspect it. It's like I know it's like now that we know that they would love to bring back Ultraman great monsters and Ultraman powered monsters, but can't because of budgetary reasons. Hence why Powered Dada made it okay. But at the same time, it's like the fact that they went out of their way and still reference Gouda cells in the Ultra Galaxy Fight miniseries.
God, I wish they would make the freaking Gouda suit.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with that is, and I can understand, um, you'd have to CGI the arms whenever they're doing attacks and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's and he's kind of just a very stand still kind of character.
Right.
You'd have to fight around him. It wouldn't make for the most epic episode.
Yeah.
It would
Well,
make for a good final villain, but not for, you know.
yeah. Well, again, like what they did with Powered Dada, it's like clearly they can't move around that suit, but they still used a lot of boom and flashes in the special effects to make him a lot more fearsome and active than he was in the original series.
Oh, I'm sure well, in the original series, that suit was so damn tight on the actor, he could barely
Mm-hmm.
move. At
Yeah.
least this one, it looked like, correct me if I'm wrong, but man, it looked like it was just made of a bunch of like those sequence things you see on like a pillow, where you rub your hand one way, you get a color, you put your hand the other way, it looks like
Yeah.
another color.
Yeah. No,
It looks like the whole suit was made of that.
No, I think exactly that's what was going on. One of the reasons it couldn't like physically throw down with the characters, but they still found a lot of really cool ways around it. So,
And I'm sure his bird feet weren't nearly as big as the Ultraman powered version was.
oh yeah, no, in the Ultraman powered, you can tell the poor actor inside was just barely struggling to walk without tripping over himself. And from what I hear, he did trip over himself on numerous
Well, he had to
occasions.
been standing on his. No, he couldn't have been standing on his tippy toes. I don't know how he got
No,
his feet into those things.
yeah, no. From what I hear, he had the actor who played Powered Dada had to turn his head in such an awkward position that had he fall down in a particular way, he could have cracked his neck. I'm glad we don't make and play monster movies. I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's rough.
yeah. It's like, could you like put us in the Godzilla suit and we'll die in 5 minutes? They'll have to pour me out as a liquid. It's like, get another raft. What another?
Yeah, it kind of makes you appreciate like when they do a good job, like on Craw or Zarkor, which was
Mm-hmm.
only made like shit. Was that made the same time? Is that
Ultraman
Zarkor was 94?
Yeah, no, Ultraman Powered came out. Ultraman Powered was produced and came out around 93, 94.
So
Zarkor
it's
in 95.
yeah,
Craw came out towards the tail end of
97.
98. 98.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Godzilla 98 inspired that movie to finally get made. So, but yeah, those monsters' costumes were pretty decent. So I think, actually made with some effort and love, as opposed with the Ultraman Powered stuff, where they're great looking suits, but they're so poorly made.
You know, if that
It's
was made nowadays, they would have done a Craw versus Zarkor. They would have gotten all the use out of those suits that they could have.
wait for
Charles Band would have put them both fighting each other for like two
yeah.
minutes in a movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's like knowing Charles Band, though. If there's enough love for it, maybe we will see a Zarkor versus Craw movie. But yeah, that would have been a perfect opportunity had Craw been more successful. And at that point, they had so many stock footage from the two movies, they could have easily made a Craw versus Zarkor movie.
It
Or
took me forever to find Craw. Like Zarkor, I found everywhere
mm-hmm.
but I was living in the States. Zarkor, I was living in Okinawa at the time,
Mm.
and you would go off base, and there was this huge underground movie rental store.
Mm.
It was weird. You would go in the building and you would go down the steps and everything was underground and there would be wall to wall movies. It's where I first learned that the Three Stooges actually made movies and like Have Rocket Will Travel, and I watched those, and
Yes.
the Snow White and Abbott and Costello. It's where I watched like the Dirty 90s. I said
Mm-hmm.
Dirty 90s? Is it? I guess it is Dirty 90s.
Okay.
Um but it's where I saw like a lot of weird movies that I've just never heard of, and I was old enough. Um, like it's where I first saw the crawlers, the killer tree roots,
Oh yeah, also known as Troll 3.
contamination point
Yes.
07.
Yes.
I like that movie. I don't know why. I like it. It's stupid,
Right. Right. Okay.
but yeah, it's. I think it's one of your better, more accurate monster designs that you use on your art here. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's really dead center. It's an ideal it's an idealized version of the suit, um because like the tentacles are a little bit thicker. I think the regular suit, like I think that they were kind of very lithe and very
mm-hmm.
whippy,
Mm-hmm.
but and this obviously the head on the bottom looks in the actual suit is got that damn stoned googly eye look on his face.
Yeah, whereas when I went out of my way to make this one actually look like, I'll get you, I'll bite your knee. Take that, American Mecha. No.
No, I like it. It was this one took a while
Mm-hmm.
to ink, but the line work was pretty solid on it. I didn't have to kind of fudge anything I needed to do.
Yeah, it's like granted, I wish I got this done a lot sooner after you inked it, but with all the knowledge that I've gained on how to color and shade this stuff, I think it came out looking great the way it is, especially with because back then when you did, I didn't know what layers were, and it's so yeah, it would have been really hard to get a lot of these effects going.
You know
So,
what layers were? You had I think I think you do too much on a layer, and then when you mess up, you lose all the work.
Yes, exactly. It's like I use multiple layers for this one, but yeah, there was a time where I just did it all on one layer, and it's like, oh my god. Now it's impossible to kind of track down and save those images as they were without it just being all flattened into one piece. But no, no, dude, thank you so much for the help on this one because it came out looking great. Now, do you want to go? Now, we're not going to go through all the ones I did for KaiJune. That's definitely a tangent we can save for other episodes. Do you want to do one more? Or do you just kind of just want to end it with Twin Tails here?
Oh, we could do one more real quick.
Okay, yeah. So this is the Braxton Knight, and this is a design I've had in my sketchbook for ages. And
Yep,
there's
I've seen this a
yes,
lot of times whenever you show me artwork.
yeah, and there's a lot of inspirations and influences behind this character. Some retroactively after I originally designed it, but ironically, the very first influence for this robot when I sketched it out ages ago was the micro robots from the second or third episode of Gotcha Man, better known as G-Force or Battle of the Planets.
Never
And
watched it.
yes,
Never watched it.
okay,
I
yeah,
know what it is,
yes,
but
no,
I've never watched it.
Gotcha
I
Man.
watched the terrible live action movie though.
Oh yeah, where they're in a warehouse talking philosophy for most of the movie.
Ah, they put so much effort into the suits, and they look so damn good, and then they just turn into another double man situation where everybody
Yeah,
just sits around and talks and such dreary, you want to slit your wrist kind of suicidal thought kind of
yeah. It's
things.
like I get the feeling like after the first 10 minutes, it's like, what? We already ran out of our budget. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh poopy.
Oh, the suits look great. Okay, how much money we got left? $3,000.
We can still make
Well,
yeah, we can still make a movie 10 minutes later. Darn it. We're good.
just go to the elementary school and teach a kid how to hold a camera straight.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They don't have very good child labor laws.
Hence the reason Jew Ranger. That's why there were so many kids in that show. They couldn't afford adults. Okay, so the Braxton Knight originally started as a riff on the kind of robot designs you see in the original Gotcha Man anime, particularly with the micro robots. And if you know what the micro robots look like, you can definitely see in the head area, especially with the little triangle laser in the forehead and just the disc-like shape. But it's like, I don't know, I think I started out drawing the micro robots, but then I just took it as something completely different. And by the end of it, it's like, hey, that's a pretty decent looking robot. I'll save that one for later. So over time, though, I think I added more to the character. Like I was figuring out what to do with it. And it's like, clearly it's a giant attack robot. But then I realized it was so kind of like old school retro science fiction that it can't be like a simple robot piloted by humans or constructed by humans. And then it's like I kind of refined the character of Boo. You know who Boo is. We all know who Boo is. So she's going to probably
Everybody knows Dragon Ball.
yes, yes. Oh no, not Boo from Dragon Ball. I mean I should have renamed the character something better. Boo, my little gray
Oh,
alien.
your boo.
Yes,
Yeah.
my Boo. This is not your Boo, my Boo.
My boo.
My Boo, says Robert Williams. While you're playing baseball with Boo with the other pirates. Get that reference. Um, yeah, but no, I thought it because like here's the funny thing that I don't think I've shared this before, even during our Alien Weirdos from Beyond the Moon. And hold on, I'm gonna pause at this point. My cat wants to
Okay.
go out, so I'll be right back.
Potty break.
Come
Intermission.
on, little one. You gotta use the restroom. You want to go out too? Oh, we all going out. Be careful. My two cats, Fluffy and Radar, they were so lovey-dovey today. They've been sleeping and hanging out with me all day. So I gave them some chicken leftovers, and now they're just. And then they started sleeping together on the couch, and now they're awake and they need to go outside.
Yeah.
I love my cats. Anyways, so yeah, so Boo. Here's the thing I don't think I ever revealed. I was going to reveal it on Alien Weirdos from Beyond the Moon, but might as well do it here. Growing up, I hated gray aliens. they scared the shit out of me. I mean, they scared the bejesus out of me. um, and I remembered vividly because like a bunch of dumb kids, we get excited and interested in things that terrify us, and of course we have nightmares about it later. And whereas I stayed away from horror movies and even monster movies before I, really found my love with Godzilla films, I I foolishly stayed up late at night past my bedtime to watch all those creepy documentaries about alien abduction, especially during the time when X-Files and that whole craze was very popular. It's like Area 51, Area Alien Autopsy, Abducted, the Alien Chronicles. They probed me with a laser up my bum bum. Documentaries like that. So yeah, I was utterly terrified of gray aliens, and I just despised the hell out of them eventually. So when I created Boo, that was sort of like my, I hate to do this comparison. It's like when Batman finally got over his fear of bats. It's like, okay, I'll make a cute little Muppet alien and make fun of him. So yeah, to be fair though, the gray aliens still kind of creep me out a little bit, but it's kind of been kind of softened a bit because now it's hard to imagine that without like Paul, the titular character from that movie, or Roger from American Dad, or even my own Boo showing up, and it's like, we're gonna abduct you now, indeed, that kind of silliness. So yeah, I kind of took the fear and made it silly, and other people did too. So I appreciate that, ladies and creators of Paul and American Dad. But with that said, I was thinking a lot about the Zeta Coolians, which is supposedly the real name of the alien species that the Greys hail from. And that's the name I decided to use for Boo's people, the Zeta
God, I wouldn't be
Coolians.
able to spell that one time correctly. Zeta Coolians.
Yeah, it's fun to say, but yeah, spelling it would be a pain in the butt. So
God, it sounds like something a 5-year-old would have came up with.
Well, I hate to say it, but a lot of ufology and alien sightings, it feels like crap that unimaginative 5-year-olds could make. So,
It is crap. It's crap and it's
uh-huh.
tall hair.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of which, like the more I looked at this robot, not only would it be like a really cool giant robot for like Boo's people to own and operate, as fearsome looking as it is, but it also conjured up memories and thoughts about two other ufology based creatures. The Flatwoods monster, that famous, possibly a giant owl alien creature that just showed up in the woods and menaced a bunch of children and their teacher.
One of my favorite cryptids.
Yes.
Just because of the way it looks.
Yeah, yeah, and granted, its appearance of the Flatwood monster is very tenuous here. It's not a direct one for one comparison, but when I saw that kind of similarity, I decided, oh, then I'll color it like the Flatwoods monster with the red face and the mostly dark brown body. Although the big color spots all over it are just there to give it a dash of color. Um, and also the name I eventually decided to give this robot, the Braxton Knight. It's a reference to Braxton County, where the Flatwood monster supposedly appeared. So, because I tried thinking of like Void Knight or Magic or Space Knight or something like that, and it's like, oh, that doesn't really work. Now, the reason I went with Knight, though, is that it also ties into the Black Satellite Knight, or the Black Knight Satellite, which is either a spaceship or a living biological techno-organic satellite that hovers over the Earth and supposedly is a creature in its own right. Of course, in recent years, it's been revealed it was just space junk that just happened to look really big on camera. But yeah, so I kind of took all these little tidbits and just tied them together with his character. And the Braxton Knight here is basically a legendary super robot that the Zeta Coolians used to defend their world a long time ago from a great evil, but now it's kind of disappeared into legend. But because of its weird otherworldly nature, even by the Zeta Coolians peoples, there's, it's almost like the legend of the Sword of Excalibur. It's somewhere there in the universe waiting for the Zeta Coolians to use once again in their moment of need. So, and I really, really like how this one came out. And you also digitally inked this one as well. So it was a big help on me, but I really had a fun time trying to decide how to do the colors and all that. And the background, I'm happy to say, is all me. See how good I'm getting at making crappy planets and stars. I like stars. So I like to color planets and stars. But that's it. That's the Braxton Knight, this character here. And it's another one of the giant robots in what should have been KaiJune for biological organic monsters. But I think it's neat. It's kind of neat old school science fiction, both ominous but also kind of magical in its own way, or awe inspiring. That's what I was trying to go for. But what do you think of the Braxton Knight, or and all the weird UFOlogy mythology behind it?
I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a very kind of throwbacky, um, 50s style you would see in like a comic book or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
With the like I said, the arms that can bend all over the place. It's let's just make a tube. We'll put lines in it. We'll call it like segmented arms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the skirt a lot on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna call it a skirt because it's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. The head and the overall body. I don't know why, but I think of like Space Invaders of the um, robot that looks for them
Oh
because it
yeah.
has like it has a big wide head. It's got little piercing eyes and it's got little dangly parts at the bottom.
I did. I
I
did.
just think of that.
Yeah, I didn't even make that connection, and that's a really great looking robot. It's like I think they were trying to go for like a scary mechanical jellyfish with that design. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
it kind
kind
of reminds. I think I saw Star Wars before I ever
of.
saw
Mm-hmm.
that, so it always reminds me of the droid that gets blasted by
Which one?
Luke. Yeah, the it was
Oh,
in the
the
second one.
satellite robot. Yeah, from
No,
in The Empire Strikes Back.
yeah, it was in the second movie because it gets blasted in the snow,
Mm-hmm.
and that robot from Space Invaders always reminds me of that thing for some
Yes.
reason.
Yeah, I
Looks the
think.
same.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of the robot was. Although I think we'll. It's like when I do this in post. I think when the image shows up, I'll put the name of the robot as well.
It's probably retconned by Disney. Same thing with the Boba Fett ship.
Yes. To be fair, though, Space Invaders was released through Disney, but the movie itself is it's sort of independent enough that Kino Lorber was able to give it a special edition without Disney's say so. So, which is good because, believe it or not, Space Invaders is probably one of my all time favorite movies, even though, and I know. I want to call it a guilty pleasure, but I enjoy it so much that I can't throw under the bus like that. So,
I mean, it is like kids' movies back then were enjoyable. Like A Gnome Named Norm. It's stupid, but for some reason, I could find Prehysteria. Pet Shop.
mm-hmm.
Um, I could find enjoyment out of those direct TV. Maybe I don't know. Space Invaders was probably in the theater.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think I ever saw it in the theaters, but I know that when it came out on video, we would rent it all the time, and we had Disney Channel in the early age when it was still showing movies without commercials. So that would come on a lot, and whenever it did, it's like Space Invaders are on, yes. But it's like I don't even think I owned a proper video or DVD of it, so it's
It
always
also
been.
kind of reminds me of the little robots from that not directed Steven Spielberg movie,
Oh,
but
batteries not
Steven
included.
yeah, but Steven Spielberg presents movie.
Hmm. Who directed it? Who cares? It's a Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg release.
everybody thinks it's a Steven Spielberg movie. I was like, no, it's just Steven Spielberg presents
Yeah, so it's like cut to the footage of like Freakazoid, the Brain, and Wacko Warner going to see.
Gremlins, anything.
Yeah,
In the 80s, his name was attached to a lot of stuff.
yeah, but no, go back to that gag in Freakazoid where a bunch of anime characters show up. It's like Steven, who's your favorite? And Steven Spielberg's like, who are you people? Because yeah, he produced a lot of things, but I don't think he remembered half the things he produced and released. So, but you're right, his name got butts and seats. It's it's a napkin he used. Get everyone to watch it.
It's a good robot. It's I think you've done other robots a little, but those have more organic parts, like
Hmm.
your what is it? Like it's like a big sea serpent with like a city on its back.
Oh, the Plesiotrus. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I really. Yeah, we got to talk about the Plesiotrus in the future. Yeah, no. Technically, the Plesiotrus is a cyborg, a very weird alien Lovecraftian cyborg in the form
Yeah,
of a
that's what I'm saying.
plesiosaur.
I I've seen other robots from you that I
Hmm.
like more, but those have more organic parts to them.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. Some of those characters may look like robots, but they technically might not be robots. So, but yeah,
But
no.
you
No.
have a good eye for design and stuff. You don't go over you. What I like about most of your designs are there's a reason behind any particular feature of it. It's not like I'm going to use Ultraman Aces for example. You have a monster and they're like, just put balls and horns and fur on it. Just it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to make sense. Just put it on there, just so it can add something.
Yeah.
But at least when you do, a lot of Sentai monsters are like that nowadays. Just put
Yeah,
shit
it's
on top of shit.
yeah, it's like as much as I like some of the villains in Power Rangers Ninja Storm, aka Hurricaneger, yeah, some of those designs were just completely unneeded. It's like I think Lin Cara said it best. It's like you get these really awesome cars and then you just cover it with billions of stickers and it ruins the design.
Yeah, it kind of makes you miss like, just give me a turtle with a stoplight on its back. I
Oh.
don't care. At least I can tell what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. It's like what is it? They say the old design. The more if a character is simplistic enough that a child can draw it, you have a winning design, or it's
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
that's what Disney. I mean, that's why FNAF is so freaking popular. There's just all those designs are anything you could draw in your notebook.
mm-hmm.
That's why Mickey Mouse is popular. It's a design that anybody could do.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why like a lot of the monsters in Power Rangers are forgettable. But then the first season, enough of those monsters have such appealing, simple designs. Yeah, you can really wrap your heads around them and bring them back in like nice, interesting forms. But then again,
Yeah.
I also get the feeling though that the makers of Jew Ranger, they were so sick and tired of the weird furniture-headed weirdos in the previous series, Jetman,
Oh,
that it's like, yeah, let's just do a basic Minotaur, no bells and whistles, boom.
I mean, Jetman had basic animal stuff too, but there was some weird stuff in there too. But
Mm-hmm.
it, you know, I can't say anything bad about Jetman. I enjoy Jetman.
Not good for you. So
But
I'm
you
glad
don't like it?
I. It's okay. It's not
The
my cup of
villains
tea.
are awesome.
I to be fair, I haven't seen a lot of episodes from it. I think I've only seen the first half. So
Oh God, the villains are so awesome. Like, I don't know if you ever saw. I don't know if it happens in the first half, but the main villain, he like loses his memory and he falls in love with a woman. And once he gets his memory back, he kills her
mm-hmm. No,
like a
I didn't
regular
get that far.
human.
Yeah, I didn't get that far.
Yeah, and then Black Condor, of course, dies. Spoilers alert for a show that's like 70 years old, but
Mm-hmm.
still.
And one that you're not
Um,
going to watch because it's 51 episodes and counting.
yeah, Black Condor dies. There's a love triangle, but yeah, like once I watched that one episode with like, I'm like, they're trying to humanize the main villain, and like as soon as he realizes what he is,
Mm-hmm.
he kills her,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's it. I want this mother effer dead by the end of the series
Yes.
because this woman showed him nothing but compassion and love, and you did away with him
Yeah,
with her.
you
It
could have
was like
just
being a love interest in what is it called? Iron King. Being a
mm,
love interest to the cowboy character. If you're a
yeah.
woman and you're a love interest to him, you're dead in like 4 episodes.
That's not completely true. Usually you'll survive, but you also get horrifically slapped and abused. It's a sad thing too because the female love interest in Iron King, she was supposed to be a major third character throughout the rest of the series. The big gag was that the lead hero never becomes a giant hero, but his sidekick becomes Iron King, who's basically Ultraman, and she was going to have a giant robot, and she would basically be the giant mecha pilot. And all three of them were going to be the heroes of the series, but the actress decided to leave the series before that could happen. So they wrote out her character and had her killed, basically. But
Kill him off.
that another case, one of many cases in the 1970s Haitian boom, where we came very close to having a major female superhero, kaiju based superhero, and then she
Which one
got.
was this? Was this the girl that dressed in the Indian outfit?
Oh god, I don't think she was in a full Indian outfit, but she was a part of the original group of villains who were like those weird ninjas with the giant androids.
No, she had an Indian vest and she had a feather in her hat or
Okay,
her
yeah.
headband.
Oh, yeah, but she wasn't full on Indian headgear. But yeah.
No, I'm not saying she was. I was saying she was just kind of dressing as it.
Mm-hmm.
Since the main, I he's not the main actor.
Yeah,
It's hard not to call him the main actor. He dresses like your spaghetti western cowboy, with a
yes.
bullwhip.
Yes, but no, yeah, and she turned out to be a spy and she got killed for her troubles. But no, she was going to originally defect from the villains and join our heroes, and she'd reveal her giant robot, and it would have been a recurring character to the end of the series. But unfortunately, because the actress wanted to leave, they decided just to kill her off her character and not deal
I
with
don't
the
know how
giant
they could
robot.
afford that. They could barely afford suits.
Well, those robots were ridiculously simple enough that I think they could have gone away with it. So it was
I
it
mean,
was yeah, it was just going to be another one of those kind of humanoid robots similar to the ones that Iron King fought in the first third.
yeah, but you say that, but then you see like the mechanical dinosaurs from the Arab terrorist organization that they were mimicking.
Technically, they were Arab pirate samurais.
God, that show is just aged like a fine wine, I swear.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay, to be fair though, I don't think they were supposed to be Arabs. I just think that's like, okay, we need a new supervillain group. Grab every costume and put them in one.
yeah, turbans, those are bad, right? We'll just put them on them.
Yeah,
God,
exactly. So, oh, and you guys, you get to pilot these dinosaurs over here. Okay.
but think about it. They
Arab
fought.
samurai pirate ninjas who pilot robot dinosaurs.
They fought a Japanese ninja clan. They fought an Arab inspired terrorist organization,
Mm-hmm.
and then they fought a French styled giant insects from outer space.
Okay. To be fair, I adore the Titanians. They're one of my all-time
Oh, I love
favorite
them
villains.
too.
Okay, yeah.
I love it when they're Titania. That's great. I love them. I just wish that they were explained better.
Yeah. Oh, they're
They
just
just run onto the street and they line up and they're like, "Oh, this is the new bad guy group." Right after the terrorist organization's beat up.
yes.
I
Okay.
just wish that they were explained more.
Yeah, they make a lot more sense. Okay, so the three villain groups in Iron King, I'm going to read their names. There's the Shiranui clan, who are apparently based on a real life clan that unfortunately got killed off by Japanese governments back in medieval times, I believe. The
Even governments back then were dicks.
Yeah, the Phantom Militia, aka our Grab All terrorist group, and their Steel Comrades, aka the giant robot dinosaurs. And then finally, there were the Titanians, or the alien Titanians, who I always gathered they were like weird kaiju insects that only assume human form when they possess
Well,
people or they have to interact with people.
they said
So,
they're from another dimension, which okay, I can use that to explain how they look like Guy Fawkes mask wearing
mm-hmm,
Zorro characters
mm-hmm.
who have like magical abilities where their hands fall off and they can get out of cuffs, or they have super strength and everything, and they can transform into giant marauding insects that have metal
Robot
parts to them, like
robotic
the
bits, yeah.
yeah. Well, some of them do, but like Kabuton, whatever that beetle. Well, several of them like beetles. I can't really say that.
Yeah, yeah. Kabuton is a giant beetle. Oh, that's right. He had a weird balloon machine in his stomach, or some bullshit.
Yeah, they
okay,
have
okay,
he
okay.
has like these little flaps that open on the side of his stomach,
Yes.
and they have like these two nozzles that just shoot out smoke.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to apologize to you. Yeah, think. Okay, so the Shiranui clan and their giant android ninjas, that makes sense. The Phantom Militia and their robot dinosaur androids, that makes sense. The Titanians are a little too weird.
Yeah,
They're kind of weirdies.
and it's like they started off with like really good designs, and then they went to the cricket doesn't look so bad, but that red little thing with the little tiny wings, and the lizard like head just looks
Oh,
terrible.
yeah, Kangura. Yeah, which is
Yeah,
basically like Rodan by the way of a giant cockroach. Yeah, that one.
and the queen one looks terrible. God, she looks bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can get past the ball tail, but the little tiny forearms and like it's just a pipe with the little pincher things on
Oh
it.
yeah, the final villain who possessed Iron King, Cricketon.
She's a queen, right?
No, no, no. It's just a powerful warrior who's based on a cricket.
Oh, it's not a queen? I thought it was a queen monster.
No, no, no. It's the final monster, but it's not a queen.
Oh,
And technically, I don't know if there was a female Titanian. I think they were all
there's
dudes.
not.
Yeah, but no, Titanian number one who never goes giant size. He's the big leader, and he's always in the spaceship watching everybody.
Oh wow, I thought it was a queen. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah, maybe you're just being racist towards insects and assuming there's a queen. So, a lot of people do. Don't feel bad about it. If it's an insect, there's got to be a queen. It's just no. Mothra has no colony. It's just
I
her.
wish
Damn it.
more. I wish more kaiju fans would give that show a. Like if you can get past the budgetary limitations. Uh, Obviously, it has budgetary. Like they don't animate any lasers
Mm-hmm.
for the longest time. It's always just his hand flashes. They put a flash bulb,
Yeah,
and
and also I hate to say it, as much as I love Iron King, like it's clear those model sets are like no bigger than our living room or your living room audience.
yeah.
Like
It
it's
did.
not as bad as the like Ambassador Magma or the Space Giants where you can literally see the shadows on the wall all the time, which is supposed to be the sky, but still those are pretty tiny sets. So,
Yeah, I think Silver Common kind of took up a lot of their money
oh yeah,
when they did
oh
that show.
the wheelchair. Oh yeah, the series that pre was before it, right?
Yeah, like
Okay.
half the series he's human size, and then they do giants near the second half, and they
Mm-hmm.
reuse like a lot. Like the episodes are not arranged like episodic, like Monster of
Mm-hmm.
the Week. Like
Mm-hmm.
monsters will span 2 or 3 episodes, kind of like how Robo Nessie did in D17 did
Mm-hmm.
for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Silver Comet is not a very good show at all.
Yeah, I almost yeah, okay, so you've seen yeah, Silver Common aka Silver Mask. I almost got him mistaken with the with one of the Sharanui robots, Silver Rider, who's basically that weird robot in the wheelchair device and he has the giant Gigan claws. Don't worry, it's a very obscure
Yeah,
member of Iron King. Okay.
I was just reading the wiki article.
Mm,
Some of the production staff, the second half of, were formerly Tetsubuya production and worked on Ultra Seven. That explains
mm.
why they were trying to retool it halfway through. Like, ah, shit, this is not working. Make everything big.
Yeah, I think they were just because I know originally that series started off as like X Files with a superhero, but then it's like I think it failed so badly in the ratings. It's like okay, make it more like Ultraman. And that's when we got all the Ultraman silliness.
I mean, that's all people care about. I mean, that's how.
Hmm.
I mean, make things big. I mean, shit, it worked for really bad shows like
Full House.
Mon. I
Remember
was
when
gonna say
Bob Saget went giant size and he battled
Yeah,
dinosaurs every episode?
I was gonna say Monster Prince. Some of those
Oh
costumes are
yeah,
just embarrassing,
yeah.
and
So
that and violent show too. Like Nessie will stomp someone's brains out of its head.
yeah, I found out recently, and I may be mistaken, and yet to be fully confirmed, even though when I've shared it online. But apparently, Monster Prince was canceled before so early in its production that there was a couple of monster suits that were constructed but never filmed, including a giant turtle and a really
Oh, that would have
dork
been cool to see.
yeah, and a really dorky looking monster that looks more like a big fat anime dinosaur than like a regular Monster Prince villain. But yeah, there was apparently a couple of monster suits that were constructed, and although they were used in stage shows and amusement park attractions, they never got a chance to show up in Monster Prince. Period. So.
Surprised they didn't like sell them off to like other series. Like,
Hmm.
uh, well, speak. When did Monster Prince come out?
I think that was 67 too.
So
They
then
could have
that would.
sold it to like Johnny Sacco and his giant robot.
I was gonna say like Space Giants.
Oh no, Space Giants was like I think by the time Space Giants wrapped up, that
Oh, that was 66.
yeah, then and Monster Prince came after Space Giants. So yeah, that was
Could have
long.
sold it to Spectre Man.
Yes, yeah, Spectrum Man will fight anything.
Yeah, a giant hand.
Yes. Wait, Spectrum Man fought a giant hand?
There was a hand alien.
Okay, okay. I remember the
And then
one-eyed
a
brain guy.
ugly whale prop that just sat in the air the whole time.
Oh yeah, Thunder Gee. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and the rattiest two-headed Ghidra wannabe rat bat thing. God, that looks terrible.
Yeah, and yet
Some
that's
monsters in Spectrum Man look really freaking bad.
yeah, and yet that series was so successful and beloved it lasted 60 episodes. So,
Yeah,
oh my
just
goodness. To be fair
yeah.
though, yeah, the budget ran out on that show so badly that in the final episodes it was Spectrum Man basically fighting a bunch of barely costumed characters at an amusement park.
But the dub on that is really good though.
Mm-hmm.
I like the it's comedy thrown in, but it's not obnoxious comedy thrown in like MXC would do and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Or like the terrible Tiga dub, you know.
Yeah.
"Man, that monster looks mean. Looks like my mother-in-law, you know.
Yeah.
It wasn't stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, granted I would prefer the subtitled version, but the dub is good enough on its own right. And you know who produced and starred in that dubbed version?
No.
Mel's Wells, a famous a character actor and voice actor who is best known as the original Mr. Mushnik from Little Shop of Horrors.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, he also played
I
the crazy monk in The Undead. You know, I must be going mad because I'm thinking
yeah.
things are going bad. Ooh. And Mel's Wells apparently liked the character Dr. Gory so much that that's why he played Dr. Gory. He did the voice, and that's why Dr. Gory got all the best lines. So
I like the dub because Gory's henchman, he kind of sounds like a really grumpy ass Popeye.
I don't understand
He's
what's going
always
on.
he's
These
always
humans are
mumbling
so
like Popeye
weird.
does. So like you have to listen to him because he always says stuff under his breath.
This
I'm going
Mechaman's
around
going,
here.
going cause crazy. This giant robot here, right here. Oh, look at all these cars in Japan. I gotta attack him.
It's a good. I like the show,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
once again, it definitely it's a product of its time because there's a traffic accident rope monster.
Mm-hmm.
I swear in the 70s, man, traffic accidents must have been the worst thing because Godzilla's
Yeah.
Revenge. They say that line in the Gamma versus Guron was
Mm-hmm.
like, "What a bit different planet with no traffic accidents." Little kids must have been dying left and right in in like the late 60s and early
Yeah.
70s in Japan. I
Yeah.
realize that's the reason why they all had the bright yellow hats. I realize that's why, but damn, there must have been like a lot of accidents happening for that to come up in movies like that
Yeah.
and TV shows.
Yeah. A lot of like Hydra from Ultraman is based on a like that monster is only there because of a traffic accident. Umibuzu, the pure white creature in the Space Giants, aka Goda in the American dub for the Space Giants. That's another monster brought forth by traffic accidents. Yeah, a lot of traffic accidents.
it's it's weird.
Mm-hmm. So,
I'm gonna put
anyways,
this.
the Braxton Knight.
Yeah,
No, no, no. It's yeah. We can yeah. Let's not wrap it up. We can still talk, but yeah, I think we're done with the Braxton Knight, and we'll finish this recording pretty soon. But yeah, where were we talking about?
I just googled traffic accidents in Japan, 1960s, also known as the Traffic War.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my
this
goodness.
is a real thing.
Oh, apparently Japan was much bigger, but traffic accidents caused it to become an island nation. I'm joking. That was a terrible joke.
No,
Apologies to everybody in Japan. Okay, we're gonna.
that's
Okay, you're reading right now, so you probably reveal something terrifying.
no.
I think on Boo's homeworld of the Zetaculians, there are no traffic accidents.
They float around everywhere.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, they're little telepathic flying aliens
They have air collisions.
with their big bulbous Metaluna mutant heads. Okay, so
Holy Okay.
okay, you're gonna about to reveal some really dark stuff here.
Yeah. 1.6 million traffic accidents that dealt with fatalities in 1970.
Oh my god.
Holy buggers. That is crazy.
I hope that the nickname the Traffic Wars lives up to his name, and there was a lot of vengeance against these drivers.
Yeah, you watch it from like 1960s 1.2 and then it goes all the way to 1.7. Holy crap, no wonder.
Like, oh my goodness, we
That's
gotta,
crazy.
yeah, we gotta bring Patrick in and just like ask him about his knowledge of Japanese history and like what's the, I hate to say it, maybe we should just do an episode talking about traffic monsters in Tokusatsu and what the historical context is behind it. So that would be a very interesting podcast. Poorly taste, but still. So, oh my god. I thought America was pretty bad. Well, we had gas shortages, so never mind.
Everybody had gas shortages. Japan, that's what ended Leo's run.
Mm-hmm.
Japan was experiencing it way worse than we were. I
Mm.
mean, you had a little island. You at least they weren't making any oil. They
Oh
depended
yeah.
solely on it.
Okay.
Us,
Yeah.
we just had really long lines where people get in fights in Superman movies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
That
Yeah.
happens in Superman 3, right?
I've never seen. I've only seen that really bad fight, the really badass fight scene between the Superman and Clark Kent. I've never seen the whole
Oh,
movie.
I think there's like a scene where like you have cars like lined up in a mile and like someone cuts in line and then someone gets out and beats the crap out of them. I'm
Mm.
pretty sure that was it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that would again. We got to do an episode just about like monsters inspired by the traffic wars of Japan. So the Great Traffic War monsters. So because there's a lot to cover, but wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
No
goodness.
wonder they put little yellow hats on all the kids.
Yeah, I thought they just did that to make the kids look cute, like Pikachu's.
No, that's what they did with the really. Not gonna say it.
Oh, yeah, it's basically the kids are wearing bright colors so everyone can see them walk by. Okay.
Oh, everybody's wearing bicycle shorts everywhere. My God,
Mm.
put on a pair of long jeans for God's sake.
But they must be adorable.
No,
the
it's not
children,
adorable.
the children in Japan must be collectible.
Once I got old enough to tell my parents what I'm gonna wear, I never wore shorts ever again. I don't care if it's 100 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
I have hairy little Chewbacca legs. I am not wearing shorts ever.
Well, I got sexy calves, so I like to show mine off.
No.
Check it out, yeah. I won't put a picture of a calves on the on the screen. So, okay. Any last words about the Braxton Knight and its extraterrestrial influences before we call it quits?
Just pretty solid piece of artwork. I like it.
Okay. Thank
As
you.
always.
Yes, thank you very much. So,
You
and
tend to like your space backgrounds a lot.
yeah, they're kind of fun to do, but at the
They
same
are. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube where I'm like, is there a different way I could make a planet, and
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the first things I learned.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So,
Then
but
I learned about depth, make the ones in the background blurry.
right. That's okay. Here's a funny thing. Yeah, I've been kind of cheating a bit with a lot of like making background elements blurry. But when you think about it, giant monsters, if they existed, they technically would be constantly in focus because they're so huge and they're being filmed from a distance, which is a gag that they realized for the Heisei Gamera series. Hence, they used a lot of special lenses and props so they would not be out of focus. So yeah, in a sense, yeah, I don't know if I'm like doing it justice by not going overboard with the out of focus or not. So, but that's just something to consider. We are
Well,
nerds.
well, I never noticed that, but
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
everything's really sharp focus in those movies, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, but then there's kaiju films where they didn't even bother, and it's like, oh yeah, it's clear they're just shoving a camera between two guys fighting. So,
Oh, I can't stand the monster movies that are like they look like they put Vaseline over the lens, so you
mm-hmm.
have like this very soft focus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I detest that.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't even make sense either. It's like I understand that the astonishing she monster is supposed to be radioactive, but then it's like they just do it for other monsters for the hell of it. It makes no sense.
Like a lot of the jungle scenes in like Peking Man have that soft
Yes.
lens, kind of Vaseline on the outer edge kind of look to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's because I don't know if that's from the camera they're using, or maybe natural sunlight has
Uh-huh.
played with that. I don't know. I don't know technicalities of shooting a film or anything.
Okay. So, but yeah, that's wow. We've talked a lot in these like 2 hours and a half. So I think I'm going to cut it here. Do you want to say any final things to the audience before we bow out, just in case?
If it's something bad, you're just gonna edit it out. So no.
Okay. I hate you all, ladies and gentlemen.
I was gonna say something political. I know that would have been cut out.
We're screwed by both parties. We're doomed. Okay, anyways. This
Sleepy
country's
Joe at
going.
the wheel.
Yeah. So, but anyways, thank you very much, EarthBaragon, for joining me. I think we can do
Mhm.
more videos like this in the future, just going over art pieces, both yours and mine, and other people's too. There's like, what is it? There's been like a really beautiful series of like illustrations, but I want to save them for another time because I know we'd be talking forever on them. So,
Yeah.
but there's this artist in Japan who's like doing these beautiful redesigns of like classic American monsters, and they're just chef's kiss. So I'll show you one
One
of
of these
these.
days, I'd like to get. I know he's really, really busy anymore. Talk to him once in a while on Discord. He's currently in a D&D campaign, which is sucking the life out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Is Necro Titan and his
I haven't heard.
illustrations
Yeah, I
and
haven't
his.
heard from Necro Titan in ages. He'd be a lot of fun to bring aboard. So.
Oh, I just love for him to sit and talk about like his, you know, like what he's doing right now with his Nezera
Mm-hmm.
thing, where we're gonna use Nezera and mushrooms, and we're gonna work in like slugs and bats, and we're gonna have all this big. I just dropped the microphone. We're gonna have all these
Oh, the
big giant,
microphone wars.
yeah, all these big giant like story concepts, like what he did with like his Kong and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, so I'm going to show you one. Okay, so there's this artist on Twitter, and I think those will be the last thing we discuss, but let's not go overboard. Named 202 Vincent, and he's in for KaiJune. He's the winner as far as I'm concerned. He's doing these gorgeous redesigns of American or lesser known kaiju. So, do you want to see his take on Gorgo,
Sure.
Reptilicus, the giant claw, Regisaurus, the Sixapus, the Q, or Ymir? Your choice.
I
Pick
think the
one.
giant claw,
Okay.
the giant claw and the it's what is it?
The Sixapus?
Hexa, hexapus.
Oh yeah, the from it came from beneath the sea.
Well, that's what you're referencing when you're saying that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'll show you these two then. Yeah, this is his take on the not the sexipus, the six tentacled octopus, or just simply the giant octopus from It
He's
Came.
even got the spikes above the eye rims like it does
Yes,
in the movie.
exactly. So yeah, that's his take on the character. It's gorgeous, but then
Yeah.
it's like this is his take on the giant claw, and it's true the original design, but it's just cleaned up a bit. So although I didn't recognize the pterodactyl wings at the end there.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It makes it more alien
Mm-hmm.
because I mean it is an alien, but
Yeah,
it does go to show you that it is not a bad design.
just a bad puppet.
The yes, a snorting Elvis sneering puppet. But
Mm-hmm.
like it does have like the weird texture on its front chest from where the neck and the meets the body and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's not a bad design. It has a nice look to it. If it had I, I think if they had just made the um the beak, I don't know why they put so much emphasis on making different parts of that articulate. If they had
Mm-hmm.
made it like an actual beak, I think it would have gone over a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the fact that the beak looks like a Muppet mouth, kind of, with how
Yeah.
movable its parts are and everything. Um, I think if they didn't do that, I think the bird would have been way better recepted.
Yeah, yeah. If the head was more serious looking, especially those bulgy, googie eyes, I think, yeah, it would probably would have worked better. But
Yeah, but birds do have ping pong eyes though. That's the problem. They don't have brow ridges.
Yeah, but
They don't have eyes
yeah, but
or eye.
they're still beautiful eyes in their own right. Like owl, it's like I would almost fall in love with a giant owl if they were real. You got pretty eyes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like birds of prey, like eagles and stuff like that. The eyes are small, the irises are small,
Uh huh.
and the way the feathers contour around the eye gives it a nicer shape
Mm-hmm.
than say something like, same thing like a woodpecker. The way the feathers go off of the eyebrow ridge, it gives
Mm-hmm.
it a nice look, as opposed to like a parakeet where it looks like it's lost all the time. You know, that's a damn good redesign though. I haven't usually I just see people just do feathers and everything, but I like the inclusion of skin stuff and everything.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does look very much more alien like.
Yes, yes. I didn't even notice these giant like holes in the creatures' bodies too. So, but yeah, no, it's a gorgeous design, and yeah, the giant octopus here is wonderful. So, yeah, okay, okay. Obviously, yeah, we're not going to go into full on detail with these things. So I'll
No,
show you the other ones because I think you'll really get a kick out of these. So let me close these guys up. Yeah, but 202 Vincent has just been killing it this year with KaiJune. So yeah, hold on. I will show you. Let me show you
is he
two.
only doing American ones? Is that theme he's going with?
He did okay. He uploaded a Mogira today, but I think that's outside the series. But yeah, he's doing like American kaiju.
That was
Yeah, this is his take on Mogira.
damn.
Yeah, it's like yeah that's a toy that even I would love to have. I love I don't know.
It's it's going a bit hard, but I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the effort.
Yes.
Like it still looks really good.
Mm-hmm. And I love that he kept the color scheme too of the original Mogira too, the gold with the blue and the green. So, but
I
no.
think I would have been happier with that as opposed to 94s.
The big old rolling tank boy.
Yeah.
Here I come. Roll me out, Japanese movie makers. We thump. That's my impression of 90 of Heisei era Mogira. But here's his take on Ymir from 20 Million Miles from Earth. And
Love the girth of the tail. It kind of looks
yes,
like the way it goes from like a skinny base to a much fatter to the
mm-hmm.
middle kind of reminds me of a gecko, kind of
Mm.
like
Yeah,
a
that
fat tail gecko.
yeah, it's like I noticed I hate to say this. It's a little awkward that the tail's so thick that Ymir doesn't have a butt.
Yeah, he
But
doesn't eat an ass.
yeah, yeah. It's like but that ass. The Ass from Venus by Ray Harryhausen and Charles Sneer.
That looks really good though.
Yeah, no, his take on Ymir is amazing. This is really like it's so true to the original, just cleaned up and advanced a bit. I love yeah, the girth of the tail is very impressive. Like what is it? I honestly think Ymir is one of the few American kaiju you could give like a proper movie sequel or a TV series to. But I have my own ideas about that. So, but no, I
Who
really
owns the rights to it?
Paramount. So if Paramount Plus
Oh,
wanted to do a Ymir series, it would not be
doubtful.
yeah.
I mean, look how long it took them to release King Kong Lives on Blu-ray. I finally
Oh
picked that up.
yeah. Yeah.
$30. I think the movie's
Ugh.
worth it, but yeah, it is there's three
What
different audio commentaries on it.
really?
So,
What company released it? Shout Factory?
uh no, it's some Umbrella.
Un-
It's a company that you would never think of. It's not like Libro or
mm-hmm.
whatever,
Lorber.
but it's a $30 set. I almost didn't buy it because I thought it was like a region DVD
Mm-hmm.
because the way the picture looks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that once or twice. I'm like, oh god dang it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have a region play player.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you know that Severin's film, they're usually known for releasing like high quality Blu-rays of like really creepy and terrifying horror movies from the 70s.
Yeah.
Um, they're doing a special Blu-ray release for Alien from the Deep or Alien from the Abyss as its its proper English title. And I don't know if there's any commentaries, but I know that it's going to be included in a 1 hour documentary about the director of the movie, Margetti, and his whole
Well,
career of work.
I have the movie and it's a pretty good picture quality.
Oh yeah, on the DVD from Seven Arts or Seven
Yeah,
Seas, yeah, which is a very good DVD release in its own right. But yeah,
yeah.
no, when they said that they were going to release a 1 hour documentary along with the movie, it's like, okay, I'm tempted to get it now. So, and plus, Alien from the Deep is kind of a fun little guilty pleasure. So, but yeah, that's his take on Ymir, and then here's his take on Q, the Winged Serpent.
I liked, and this is the exact kind of opposite of what the giant claw was. I like the fact that we have feathers on the tip because
Mm-hmm.
that's in the model it kind of looked like he wanted feathers on the end of the wings because
Mm-hmm.
they look uneven.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just working within the budget that he has,
Yeah,
and I like the fact that it's more
snake-like.
snake-like for a
Yeah.
serpent.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a very gorgeous take on Q the Winged Serpent because I don't mind the original Q the Winged Serpent, but it
Yeah,
does feel that they kind of ran out of money to really give the puppet some nice flair. And
I like
here,
the shape of the wings. I think
yeah,
the head and the neck's a little small though.
yeah, that is, yeah, that,
Proportion, like look how beefy that arm is where the
mm-hmm.
wings at. It's thicker than his neck is.
Yeah. Whereas the original stop motion model of Q has that really impressive long neck with the beak-like head. So
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, but yeah, no, I really do love that he incorporated the snakes. I love how it is feather-like, but at the same time, you also can kind of buy that this was the kind of wings that would evolve on a snake-like monster. And
Yeah.
I like he did add some extra color, as subtle as it is. Let me share.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not shit brown.
Okay, okay, hold on. This is I'm gonna share two more. This is his take on Gorgo, Agra, and Reptilicus. Okay, this is his take on Reptilicus.
I like it. I don't know if I like the cobra aspect of the
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, that's my feelings towards it too. It's like it's perfect, 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 perfect. Yeah, questionable.
Yeah, I think that's the only like I can I like the fact that there's still wings there and I'm like he didn't I like that he didn't like oversize them.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people when they redesign
Reptilicus.
Reptilicus they do the giant dragon wings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
I think
don't
even I did that once when with an old sketch.
Yeah,
But
I don't care for the head too much.
yeah, I think the big problem with the head, like I like the like again, he's killing it with this artwork. But I think the thing about the head that I don't like is now looking at it, it just feels like great Reptilicus redesign, but we put in the Dragon Wars head
Yeah,
on
I was
this
about to say
guy.
D-War a
Yeah,
little
D
bit.
War. Yeah.
It
So,
it removes it too far from Reptilicus for me.
mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. But other than that, though, I think it's a really good piece. Like as
Yeah,
good, we're good artists in our own right, but yeah, this yeah I can't do anything like this.
I
So,
think I would have liked to seen it in green though. Keep it with the same kind of
mm-hmm.
color scheme as uh, the overly ambitious artwork depicted on the on the posters.
Yeah, I just
Him
noticed he kept.
breaking through a bridge. Yeah, that doesn't really happen in the movie.
Yeah, I noticed. Well, the puppet did menace that one bridge.
He crawled near it,
Yeah,
and those shots are only in the Danish version. They got cut out of the American version.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, and I like how still. I don't know if these are supposed to be like little catfish like mustache
I think
tendrils,
so.
but I do like how that's a little reminiscent of like the weird hanging globs of flesh on on the original Reptilicus.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's good though.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's still great, and this is in his like I we've seen similar Gorgos like this. But
Yeah,
I think this one is definitely a winner because yeah, he incorporated the big alligator amphibian elements, but I think it actually works. I love the way the tail is. But look at baby
I know.
Gorgo. Oh
Baby
my
Gorgo
god.
looks adorable.
I know
It
that's
does.
yeah, that's like granted, like if we saw a 60 foot this it would be hard to take seriously even when it's like killing everybody and we gotta send the family's
It's
chickens.
so cute.
I know. It's so adorable. And I think, yeah, going for the. We've seen alligator takes on Gorgo, But I think it works beautifully here, especially with the little baby just hanging on his mother's back.
I
So
think I would have wished the hands to be a bit bigger, but that's my personal preference on Gorgo. I
mm-hmm.
loved how giant her hands were, big clobber knockers.
Yes, yes.
But it's really good though.
Yeah, yeah. No, very good Gorgo here. But yeah, baby Gorgo here is just the most adorable thing I've seen in
You ever
ages.
notice like redesigns that people do for kaijus and stuff? They always shrink down the heads. Like the
Yeah.
suits have like these big bulbous heads, and everybody's like, "No, that's too big. I need to make it smaller."
Yeah, it's I wonder if he's going to do the last dinosaur this year. That'd be great to see.
Man, that'd be
Okay.
a really tiny head on that.
Little tiny. As opposed to that the great big bulbous head that the other one has. Okay, so hold on. Okay, accidentally. Wait, we'll get to that
Oh,
one in a moment. Yeah. Okay, okay. Well, let's. I want to talk about his take on the Redosaurus from Beast from 25,000 Fathoms. I think this might be the weakest of the lot, but at the same time, he's like it's still vaguely similar to the Redosaurus. But I don't know if going with the Komodo dragon look was a good idea.
I can get past the Komodo dragon. I just wish the head was more
Pronounced.
closer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because yeah, the Redosaurus, regardless what you think about the monster, has such a wonderfully huge, memorable face. So
yeah.
it's like, especially in profile, it's almost dignified but vicious at the same time. And it's funny too because my friend Christy, she's been on my shows before, and she's the creator of Ryla and a lot of other oddball vor characters on DeviantArt. She's also she was watching Beast from 25,000 Fathoms earlier today, and
20.
they oh huh
You said 25.
20 oh darn it
How dare you?
that's the sequel.
How
uh
dare you?
yeah. It's his bigger brother from the downstairs basement. No, she was watching the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms today, and they noted that the Redosaurus is a distant brother cousin to the Brontosaurus. So do you think, like, and granted, the evil Brontosaurus has kind of been stolen by the giant behemoth. Do you think that would have been a better way to go than with the Komodo dragon thing?
No, no, because then
Okay.
I would be thinking of the Paleosaurus from Behemoth
Yeah. Okay then.
if he
Yeah.
went with that direction. I like it. I just wish the head was more
Pronounced.
more dragon
Mm-hmm.
like pronounced,
Yeah. No, I
but
I
it's still
fully
a good
agree.
design.
Yeah, it's really great. But check out his take on them.
I really enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The
like.
fact that it's not just your basic giant ant,
Mm-hmm.
and I do like that there's a hint of purple because I think I read somewhere that the original props were red and purple. I thought is what I read.
Yeah, what I do know is that the original plans for them was it was going to be a more big budget movie. It was going to be in color and 3D. But then they decided to scale it back at the last minute. Hence the reason only the titles of them is in color. Um, and I hate to say it, that was probably because the guy who ran Warner Brothers back then, what's his face, screwed over his family to buy the company. He was so obsessed with 3D, he kept throwing 3D tidbits in movies that had no 3D in them at all. So
I
at
don't think the movie would be as well remembered if it was in color though.
yeah, yeah, but no, it's like so I think that's why the titles is in color. It's not a stylistic choice. It was just a Jack Arnold, or darn it, I don't know who owned Warner Brothers back then. But yeah, I think the title was in 3D, but it didn't matter because the rest of the movie was in black and white. So,
Yeah, but
but
I think that someone said the ants themselves were purple.
yeah, yeah, well,
Like
yeah,
really,
yeah. So I think you're
which is
right.
another reason why I think that was a good choice to not
Hmm.
shoot in color. I think a big bunch of purple ants would be
Yeah,
not that well received.
yeah, very garish. But no, what I love about this design is it's very outside the box. Like you said, he didn't just do a giant ant. He added some like these huge forearms. That's like something for, like out of like an Australian prehistoric beast. And
Kind of reminds me of like a mole cricket a little bit.
yeah, yeah, and these wonderfully giant jaws here too.
Yeah.
And I love the texture he put. It's like it's not just the usual exoskeleton. You feel this really feels like what an ant would feel like if it grew giant size in the desert to
Well, the props
compensate.
had fur on them, didn't they?
Huh?
I think they did. I said the props had hair on them, didn't they?
Yes, the giant puppet ants in the movie did have a
I'm
lot
pretty
of hair
sure it
on
was
them.
just to hide the piping and the stuff in there, but at least it still has a purpose.
Yes, yes. Yeah, now I'm noticing, yeah, he did incorporate a lot of the hair of the creature too. So, but yeah, it's like, yeah, I opened up the his Twitter today and checked out, and this was waiting for me, and I was like, that is a very impressive version of them. So, but yeah,
I love
this.
to see him do other ones like the praying mantis.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Just
yeah,
don't
the
give it
deadly
antenna.
mantis.
Don't give it antenna. That's what makes it stand out. It's a bald praying mantis.
He's big. He's a big boy. He doesn't need an antenna just to smell. Okay. Yeah, if insects were that big, I don't think they would need the multi-lensed eyes to compensate for their tiny size. So they would have to have like big normal eyes here, which is something you kind of get here. Like it feels like the eyes have mutated just to be giant black mammalian eyes. That's what I like. What? Sorry about that.
Wow. Did you go through puberty just then?
No. I need to
Second
get.
time.
I have things I need to do. No more childish kaiju.
I just want to
Goodbye.
drink beer and bang women.
Hey there, Miss Blue. I'm now a man. Okay, I'm just gonna get worse and worse if I keep that up. So, have I? Oh, by the way, you're very fortunate. I've yet to introduce you to my newest character, the fearsomely French Frenchman.
No, I haven't met this one before.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna do it tonight. So, but no, what I was gonna
You
say
keep
before.
this up, someone's going to put you in a home for dissociative disorders, I
It's
swear.
too late. It's too late. So, isn't it right, Jack? Leave me alone. Okay. Jack doesn't want to talk. Your
That's what your
robot
family's going
sucks.
to that's what your family's going to do when you get older. It's like, "Oh, we're going to get that. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to get that. We're going to get that kaiju money. We're going to sell off his collection. Put him in a home."
Yeah. But anyway, so no. What I really like about this design before I hit what I was gonna say before I hit puberty was I love how he incorporated like mammalian elements with the giant ant, and I don't know if that was deliberate or not. But yeah, it's more true to the original prop and design of the giant ants than if he again just went full on insect. So.
No, it's I think design-wise, it's probably the strongest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Um because on some of the other, well, no, a giant claw is probably the strongest one for me. But like it takes enough of the original and then it puts new stuff on there, but it also feels like it belongs. It's not like the Komodo dragon for the Radiosaurus or what was the other one? The mare just kind of making it look like it has more plate armor.
Mm-hmm.
This or the uh little tiny head on the Q.
Oh yeah,
No, this
Q.
one, I'm surprised he picked such a simplistic monster
Yeah.
to
Well, it
to redo.
It works too, and also I'm glad it. Other than Mogira, which I think was just an extra, although I still like that kind of anime mecha take on Mogira. I think the fact that he's doing all these lesser known American or foreign kaiju outside Japan is very very refreshing. So, and it's funny you should mention that. I'm because of the white background. I'm tempted that when he's done, just to make a big collage of all his pieces together. So.
I would love to see his take on Monster from Green Hell because that has such a
Mm,
striking face
mm-hmm.
and its body. It has like this fat cicada like body, but it's supposed to be a wasp.
Yeah,
So
a big old fat wasp that can't fly.
so there's like a lot that he could do there.
Oh my god, there are.
Um,
Yeah, I would love. Like, I know Kronos has like one of the most ridiculously simple designs ever, but I'd love to see what he
yeah.
would do with Kronos. So,
Black Scorpion.
Black Scorpion,
Only
yes.
only if he tried to work in the human like googly face and try to make that. I don't know if he could or not.
Yeah, what other American monsters you could do? Okay,
Um,
sadly, I can only think of like really bizarre obscurities, like the giant crocodile from the Santo movie. Oh
Beginning
god.
of the end to see if he could make it more than just a make it more like the poster.
Mm-hmm. Like, uh, like okay, the Cyclops from Bird Eye Gordon's movie. It's
War.
like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it's like what Glenn Manning and Nancy Floor Archer from Colossal Man and the Incredible I mean the 50-foot woman, Attack of the 50-foot woman. Yeah, you couldn't really do anything with their designs unless you decided to go like all out with like some weird ideas. Um,
Kaltiki. I don't
Cal
know if you could
Tiki.
really. I You could do more with that than you could with like the blob. The
Yeah,
blob's just going to be the blob, but
yeah.
Kaltiki you could at least add textures or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm. The black hole spiders from the giant spider invasion, the Crater Lake monster. Oh God,
Behemoth again.
Behemoth again. What? Oh God, what other? He's already done most of the Ray Harryhausen monsters, unless he decides to go into the fantasy films and we'll get like Talos or the Colossal Island Cyclops or the Dragon.
Yeah, I was trying not to think of like giant aliens like the crawling eye, but I think that would be a really
Oh yeah,
interesting design.
yeah. I think the Crawling Eye would be a great choice because alternatively, I would choose something like the monster from the ocean floor, but that's such an obscurity. I don't think that would work.
Yeah, that really goes into obscure. Even
Yeah.
even though I
Oh,
still say that's supposed to be an octopus, and it's not. It's
yeah.
supposed to be an amoeba.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The giant Gila monster. I think you do a great job with the giant Gila monster. And oh god, the Attack of the Crab monsters. There's those guys too.
Yeah, that would be a good one with the
Mm-hmm.
human-like faces.
Yes, yes. Or any of the creatures from Mysterious Island. They kind of all count. At the very least, the Flora Hawkus, aka the big
That bird.
chicken. Yeah, the
Yeah,
chicken.
that one tends to get a lot of love.
Mm-hmm. It's a good design, and it's funny to think that on an island full of giant animals, technically that the Phoroharcus and the giant Animite are the only prehistoric monsters held over from the original version of the film.
Uh,
So yeah, oh yeah, the Dinosaurus creatures, maybe the snow giant from Conquest of the Poles. So
the hell's that?
oh, it's an old silent movie, and you probably seen
Oh,
footage of like a huge like ice giant who like tries to eat a bunch of guys. Who it's another George LeMay's movie. You know, the guy who did A Trip to the Moon.
no, I can't say I've known what that one is.
Yeah. So okay, now I'm just getting to like weird obscurities no one cares about.
That one is pretty obscure.
Yeah.
That one's out of my purview.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no. With that says, I just wanted to share the 202 Vincent artwork. I don't know if we're going to incorporate it into the main video or its own little segment, but I
Yeah,
thought, I thought you'd get a big kick out of them and the giant claw for sure. So, okay, yeah,
definitely,
yes.
definitely. I don't know. Maybe do like a. I don't know. This is outside the thing, but maybe I don't know. Maybe if you wanted to ever do like a artist spotlight kind of thing
Oh,
on
that's not a bad
artists that
idea.
you really care for,
Yeah.
would have to be stay way more on topic and less tangenty. But
No,
like I would, if Necrotite would stop freaking purging his
DeviantArt page.
yeah, I'm so glad that I saved all of his older art because he did all those very simple but still really brightly well drawn, brightly colored images of like Monster for Green Hell, Kautiki, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
saved them all, thank God. But he doesn't feel that that is up to his quality, which I can understand that. But it's still good art, though.
Yeah, yeah. I hate to say it, but this part's definitely not going to go in the final version. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who get so embarrassed about their past works that they're always constantly working on trying to do new versions of the same thing over and over again, and they just get stuck in a rut.
Well,
It's like,
he doesn't do that, thankfully, but he just purges a lot of his stuff, and
yeah,
I'm
but
just like, ah,
that's the thing to get rid of all these older works and not look back. It's like I know I do that sometimes, but I don't mind sharing or keeping the old versions around. And there's some creators out there who will get so embarrassed of their work, no matter how young it still is, that they just immediately dispose and destroy it. And it's like you just wasted all that time on that work, and now you just disposed of it instead of using it again in the future somehow.
but I can understand that if you are making money,
Mm,
you don't want anything out there. Like you don't want like what's on my first part of my DeviantArt page, which is
mm,
basically pencil drawings inked over, colored with color and pencils or that. You don't want anything like that out. You
uh-huh.
don't want anything else. I keep it there as a reminder of how far I've come in my art. That's my own
Mm-hmm.
personal thing. But if you're making money like, um, uh, damn, what is Brandon's other artist? Oh
Hooks and
my
Fang.
god, yeah, Hooks and Fang, like him and the other one. I don't know the other one very well.
Yeah.
But he makes a lot of commission artwork and everything. You don't want anything less than perfect on that.
Yeah, but no. I think the problem with Necrotitan is he's too busy constantly destroying his older work just to kind of, I don't know. It's just, I've seen a lot of artists do that. It's like I've known people who had these great ideas, but they keep working on that same idea for years because they're too embarrassed to, I don't know.
Oh,
It's
there's a lot of
disappointing.
kaiju artists that have like purged their stuff on DeviantArt,
Yeah.
like
So
done, and you're like, damn it.
yeah, or it's like what is it? Like people who do these YouTube videos with these elaborate scripts, and it's like, oh, you could easily revisit it. Oh no, I deleted and destroyed all my scripts in the original videos.
Yeah, or they'll
That
just
whatever.
purge their YouTube
Yeah,
videos.
yeah. It's like, well, then what are you gonna do in the future? Oh no, it's fuck.
Yeah,
It
there was
really
a
pisses me off. That's
yeah,
all.
like there was a YouTube person on there on it was he went by the name of Sapphire Productions, and he reviewed like a lot of monster movies, and he did like a big Jaws knockoff, and he reviewed stuff like
Mm-hmm.
Barracuda, Rattlers, these monster-esque movies that nobody ever talks about, and I thought they were okay,
Mm-hmm.
but that channel's gone.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, that's definitely a person who is so embarrassed of his older works that he outright deleted them from what I understand. Like nothing survived.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like
remember. I know I'm yeah. I know he was friends with Andres, and I just don't remember.
oh,
Yeah,
it's
his
yeah, that's Andrew. Okay, this part's definitely not getting to the final video. Okay, I'm gonna stop
okay.
right here.